Hey, Bopo, I've got a surprise for you.
Okay.
I've got a few surprises for you, but here's the first of a few. Thank you for pressing start on episode 100 of Underplayed, KZUM's indie video game podcast. Today we recap, reflect, and celebrate Underplayed and the 301 games reviewed on this show to date. Here on Underplayed, we review indie games of all kinds, the games with small budgets but big hearts, the lesser-known experiences with imaginative ideas. First, let's pause to say hello. He didn't know that this is how we'd start the show. His juggling owns, he's a fan of glow bones. He's mastered each of the rooms and learned so much about shrooms. He's the grun runner, the mini shoot gunner. Streaming with him couldn't be funner. Let's all say yo to our friend Bopo. What is going on?
Oh.
And what you're hearing under us is a cover of our intro theme done by Grant Graham, the composer from Ghost Song.
No way.
Yeah. And welcome to episode 100.
Hey, welcome. Oh, sorry, I'm so emotional. Thank you for all of that.
There's more to come, don't worry. And some things that kind of fell through the cracks that I still kind of want to tell you about a little bit later on. But yeah, this is a special celebration of Underplayed. We'll have some special announcements throughout the show as well. But we're here to celebrate all that we've done so far. I don't think when we started out, we planned it in a way where everything would be multiples of 11, and then we'd have this like special slot for 100. But that is just kind of like, we noticed maybe 2 or 3 seasons in that that's how the math would work out, and that episode 100 was going to be really special.
Yeah, so we've been anticipating this for so long, and now it's finally here. It's very surreal, and just thank you again for everything here at the top to kick us off. What a meaningful and special intro. Thank you, Disco.
I did have someone initially agree to do a cameo of that from one of the games that we reviewed a long time ago.
Oh.
But that fell through, and I'll show you all about that later. But it was going to be even cooler, but it's still pretty great.
It's still amazing. 10 out of 10. And you know I don't give 10s that often.
That's true. Maybe 8 of them? Yeah. I should probably have that document open too. I'm going to need it.
Well, today we have a lot of special categories to celebrate 100 episodes of Underplayed, and we really appreciate you listening out there, whether this is your first time listening. It might be a strange episode to listen to if it's your first ever episode of our show, or if it's your 100th episode listening. We appreciate all of the listenership over the years. Underplayed is a project that began as a shower thought in 2021, and I brought it to Disco Cola because we had been talking about indie games in our free time, and it just seemed like a really fun project to do. And so our very first episode was released in 2022. And that required us to start preparation actually at late 2021. So we've been doing this for a good number of years.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to 100 for a while. that intro that I read, I've had written since, let's see here, since like April since September of 25.
Oh, so wow.
I've had it written for a long time.
That's such a long time. Well,
yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm so emotional, and my nose is leaking because I've been crying.
You're going to run out. You went and grabbed some because you knew you're going to run out.
Knew. Yeah, I'm going to run out. But thank you. So, we are going to be talking about some categories, some discussion topics that we've never covered on our show before to celebrate 100 episodes. If you're new to our show, Underplayed is an indie game podcast where on a regular episode, we have been reviewing secret games, which are games we play privately apart from each other, as well as featured games, which are big landmark indie games across the indie game landscape. We typically squeeze 3 reviews into one episode. But then every 11th episode is a season look back where we reflect on the previous 10 episodes before we move on to the next season. So we just had our season 9 recap and reflection last episode, and now it is the episode capping off 100 episodes in our first Omnibus, or what's the other?
Epoch is the one that I like. Yeah.
That's the other one, yes. So today we're going to be talking about our top 100 indie games. We're going to be talking about the 5 indie games we recommend to non-indie gamers. We're going to rank our top 5 indie game developers, our top 5 episodes of Underplayed, our top 5 indie games we'd play again for the first time, our top 5 indie game motifs, our top 5 achievements in games, our top 5 game expansions and DLCs, and what non-indie games we'd be playing if we weren't doing Underplayed. So I think that's the order we'll go in today. But before we kick off with our top 100 indie games, we did want to make an announcement about our show. And that is that after we do episode 100 here, this will be it for Underplayed for now.
Yeah. If you listen to episode 99, we had planned season 10. A lot's happened between now and then that's sort of made it impossible to keep going, at least for now. And one of the things that I look forward to as far as taking a break from Underplayed is just really focusing on making sure I'm very present for my kids, because even in the best scheduled times, Underplayed is always a little bit on my mind in one way or another. So I'm looking forward to that at least not being the case for a little while.
Yes, and this is something we talked about for quite a long time before we came to this decision. So the decision was not made lightly, and knowing the time commitment of the show and how that's impacted us in our personal lives, it just made sense to make this decision. And I think we're both very sure that this is the best way to proceed going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not completely closing the book on possibly doing Underplayed down the road, but for now, there are no plans, there are no promises. So we are ending Underplayed here with episode 100 for now.
Yes. So strap in. We're going to make the best of it. We're going to try to go out with a bang. But we're going to leave a little room on the shelf just in case there's room for another Omnibus someday.
And we will listen to our hearts. Maybe someday they will tell us to return to this or do a similar project. And we will let you know if we ever come to that.
Right. I think you'll probably, I won't speak for Bopo. I think he probably plans to still stream in some capacity. I know that I've got some ideas for content, but whatever that content is will be free of deadlines. And so I look forward to still engaging with indie games on a pretty regular basis.
Amazing. That's so great to hear. And I do plan on returning to streaming sometime this year. That time will return, and I look forward to that a lot. So that is our intro. And I think I just also want to give another thank you to just everybody listening, everybody who has listened, all of the listenership, all the people we've met through doing the show. It has meant a lot, and that's very special.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of creative things, which is especially awesome since I'm not the most creative person, but to have all these creative opportunities, Underplayed is easily the one I'm the most proud of. So it's been a great joy, even in the hardest times.
I would say the same. I agree wholeheartedly. Well, do you think it's time to move on to our categories? Is that a good segue? Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a special song for this one.
That's okay. I don't have. Maybe we could sing one. No, we will transition to our top 100 indie games. So this is...
You're going to hear a lot of names.
You're going to hear a lot of games, a lot of names of games.
I should note up top, this isn't just indie games that have appeared on Underplayed necessarily. I think most, if not all of mine have somewhere, but it's just our top 100 favorite indie games.
Yes, and we'll go back and forth. So I think we'll do this in maybe groups of 10 is what I was thinking. So like you will list your 100 through 91.
Yep.
And then I'll list my 100 through 91. Does that sound good?
I think that sounds good. Do you want me to start?
Sure. And as we start these lists, we're not going to go super in depth into the games. We're just going to name them at first. But as we get closer to the top of the lists, that's when we'll maybe say something. Maybe like, I don't know, top 20?
I think
top 10?
If we do top 20, we have to be pretty brief with like 20 through 11. Otherwise, people are going to be sitting.
That's fair. Maybe we can say a little something starting around number 20.
Okay.
And then our top 10s will be a little bit more passionate. How about that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to start and let me look at 101 through like 105 to see if I want to make any last minute changes.
Yeah, sure.
Because number 100, it surprises me that it didn't get knocked off. No, hate toward the game, but my 100 is Operation Tango. And then Time Spinner, Machinarium, which will be a surprise to be so far down the list, Slime Rancher, Zeo Drifter, Narita Boy, Wanderstop, Season, A Letter to the Future, Windswept, and Habroxia at 91.
Wow. Some recent games you played there.
Yes.
In the 91 through 100. Okay, my 100 through 91. Number 100, Ball Pit. 99, Luto. 98, Nuts. 97, Alba, A Wildlife Adventure. 96, Undertale. 95, Jazz Punk Director's Cut. 94, Rogue Legacy. 93, Arctic Eggs. 92, Pizza Tower. 91, Birth. How about I do my next 10? So
Okay.
it's not always you going first.
When the hell did you play Undertale?
Oh, I played it years ago.
Did you?
I did.
I didn't know you'd ever played that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those featured games we never got around to. It was like such a massive game that I think I was always too afraid to pick because it didn't seem like the right time.
See, I thought that you just had like never touched it, and I had never played it, but I'd watched like 3 or 4 playthroughs of it.
So you get it. You know what's going on in it. Okay. Yeah. Years ago. It's been years.
Okay.
But it made such a lasting impact on me. And that's why it's in my list.
All
so
right.
my 90 through 81. Number 90, Baba Is You. 89, Super Hot. 88, Flower. 87, Gora Goa. 86, Hotline Miami. 85, Bug Snacks. 84, Sludge Life. 83, Inside. 82, Chicory, A Colorful Tale. And 81, A Binding of N. Isaac. And this one is The Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
I've got some of those in a different chunk of 10 coming up.
Okay, sweet.
For me, 90 is Katana Zero. 89 is House. 88 is Tangle Tower. 87 is Proto-Droid Delta. 86 is Isla, A Frosty Glide. 85, Creature in the Well. 84, Transistor. 83, Omno. 82, Lil Guardsman. 81, Azure Striker Gunvolt 1.
Very nice. How about you roll into your next 10?
Okay. Number 80, Sable. Number 79, Mighty Gunvolt Burst or Gal Gunvolt Burst. They're the same game. 78, Bug Snacks. 77, Soma. 76, Viewfinder. 75, Pizza Tower. 74, Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight. 73, Chris Tales. 72, Owlboy. 71, Animal Well.
Okay. My 80 through 71. Number 80, Risk of Rain. Number 79, Kentucky Route Zero, TV edition, because that's the one we played.
Right.
Number 78, Wheel World. 77, Amnesia, The Dark Descent. Number 76, American Arcadia. Number 75, I Am Your Beast. Number 74, Atomic, Run Gun Jump Gun. Number 73, Disco Elysium, The Final Cut. Number 72, Ooh. And number 71, Indica. Okay, then my next 10.
Yep.
Number 70, Crow Country. Number 69, nice, Big Hops. Number 68, Mouthwashing. Number 67, Crypt Custodian. Number 66, Untitled Goose Game. Number 65, Firewatch. Number 64, Stray. Number 63, Toem. Number 62, The Beginner's Guide. And number 61, Fez.
All right. So my number, what are we on, 70?
70, yes.
Yeah, for me. My number 70 is #blood. My number 69, nice, is Flower. My 68 is Iris and the Giant. 67, Penny's Big Breakaway. 66, Young Souls. 65, Journey. 64, Enjoy the Diner. 63, Haven. 62, Going Under. 61, Slay the Spire. And then going on to my next set of 10, River City Girls at 60. 59 is Solar Ash. 58 is Castle Crashers. 57 is Berserk Boy. 56 is Crosscode. 55, Wilmot Works It Out. 54, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. 53, Mutazione. 52, Omochapon. And 51, Dredge. And I think I want to take like a break at 51 and we'll take,
assess.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll do 60 through 51. Number 60, What the Car. 59 is Oxenfree. 58 is Viewfinder. 57 is Cult of the Lamb. 56 is Super Meat Boy. 55 is Fruit Bus. 54 is Limbo. 53 is A Short Hike. 52 is The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. And 51 is also Dredge.
Wow, that's funny.
We have the same 51.
Oh, dope.
That is cool. I love that.
I didn't expect that to happen.
No, that like the odds of that happening anywhere in the list, very low. Cool. So I don't have your list in front of me.
I have both of our lists.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
Cool. So what are you noticing?
I'm going to focus mostly on my list. Slime Rancher kept it in there for a long time. I might adjust where Little Guardsman is, because when I think about going back to play it, I'm not like, in love with the idea, but it was fine, and I love the art style. I really want Iris and the Giant to be higher. Like, I want to love it more. And I might have gone a little bit too hard at the gate with Omochapon, but I still don't know where I would put it otherwise. What about you?
I'm noticing just the balance between games that were featured games or would have been featured games and non-featured games.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
At least 20 or 25 of mine are featured games that we had, which just goes to show these games are popular for a reason because they're good.
Yeah. When I was working on some of the other topics for today, I did start to notice how many of my top 50 are featured games. I was like, oh, I thought I was more hipster than that, but I'm not.
But they're still indie games.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Let's see. For the bottom 10, that's where things can really adjust over time because just 3 months ago, I had completely different games in there, and then I did a re-ranking, and I actually streamed that. It was a lot of fun. But Ball Pit is a slightly more recent game that I've played. That's number 100, right? Mm-hmm. Birth is pretty recent as far as my play experience with it, and that's in my bottom 10. So that cracked the top 100. And then also games like Jazz Punk, which I played years ago, and that I've played multiple times, also making the list. So I'm just seeing the variety there, which is cool. And I heard a lot of crossover between our lists. I mean, aside from Dredge, I heard other similar games. Like I heard Viewfinder in your list.
Bugsnax was one that was pretty close.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. So it's cool to see that. Shall we keep going?
Let's continue.
Okay. Who should
I'll go.
Okay, you go.
Number 50, One Shot World Machine Edition. 49, Super Crush KO. 48 is Stray. 47, Jack Move. 46, Moonlighter. 45, Panzer Paladin. 44, Shady Part of Me. 43, Ooh. 42, Donut County. 41, Shantae Half Genie Hero.
Oh, nice. Okay, my 50 through 41. Number 50, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition. 49 is Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut. 48, Before Your Eyes. 47, Chance of Sonar. Number 46, Hyperlight Drifter. Number 45, Vampire Survivors. Number 44, The Wild at Heart. Number 43, Balatro. Number 42, Sifu. And number 41, Papers, Please. And we will go into our next 10. 40 through 31, here are mine. Number 40, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Number 39, Slay the Spire. Number 38, Grease. Number 37, Neva. Number 36, What Remains of Edith Finch. Number 35, Many Nights a Whisper. Number 34, Stardew Valley. 33 is Donut County. 32 is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And 31 is Ori and the Blind Forest.
For me, number 40 is Papers, Please. Number 39 is Limbo. 38, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition. 37, Celeste. 36, Unsighted. 35, Vernal Edge. 34, a big surprise, Rogue Legacy. 33, Carrion. 32, Sea of Stars. 31, Curse Crackers, For Whom the Bell Toils. And then moving on to the next set of 10, 30 through 21. My number 30 is Alekhead. My number 29, South of the Circle. 28 is Lunar Lux. 27 is Elsie. 26 is Ghost Song. 25 is Cocoon. 24 is Dandara. 23 is 1,000 Times Resist. 22 is Downwell. And 21 is Chants of Sonar.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. My 30 through 21. Number 30 is Carto. Number 29 is Death's Door. Number 28 is Tempopo. Number 27 is Another Crab's Treasure. Number 26 is Valley Peaks. Number 25 is Gravity Circuit. Number 24 is Venba. Number 23 is Device 6. Number 22 is Sea of Stars. And number 21 is Journey. Now we get to the top 20.
Yeah.
We will start to say a little bit more about the games here. So my number 20 is Blasphemous. This is a Metroidvania that is absolutely massive. And I remember it being such a daunting game. And it's a game where I felt so rewarded because I stuck with it. And I'm so glad I did because I ended up discovering one of the best Metroidvanias I've ever played. And it's just gnarly as hell. Videoverse, this is the game that has the potential to call me a visual novel fan after playing it. I didn't consider myself that big of a fan of these kinds of games. And Kinmoku's Videoverse started to show me a very human side of like the late 90s as seen through social media and video game systems and online culture. And I just think this is such a heartwarming story. 1,000 Times Resist. What a tangled web this game weaves. So much to talk about and discuss and meditate on with this game. I've played it twice, and each time I came away with different insights and pieces of wisdom about humanity again. Number 17, Hades. This is from our first season. Our 6th episode, I believe.
Was it really?
Was on Hades. I always remember that because 666.
Oh, really?
That's what I used to remember what episode
Interesting.
it was. Now, watch me be wrong. It was like episode 7. But yeah, Hades is one of those roguelikes that has it all. It's got great characters, an awesome story, incredible writing, gameplay that is always fun, gameplay that wants you to experiment. And when you do experiment, you find your next favorite combo or weapon. And I remember both of us just putting in like 50 hours into this.
At least,
and just having a blast. And then I'll say my next one, and then we'll do them in chunks of 5, maybe.
Okay.
So my next one.
It's a big surprise for me. I have your list open.
Oh, yeah, sure. Number 16 is Mutazione. This is another story-based game that completely absorbed me. When I streamed this, I got so into doing the voices for the characters, and it's such a calm, almost like peaceful game, but it's also, about some pretty heavy things. It deals with these topics with a lot of like wistful emotions. And I just love that about Mutazione. It's a gentle game. It's a beautiful game. It's about some really abstract, strange characters, and somehow it comes together into a package that is kind of cozy. So that's why I love it.
All right. My number 20, and this might be one that I'll have to move after I complete it, but it's Possessors. I I liked the gameplay. It felt really good to play. I love all the character designs and the world design. All the monster designs are really like grotesque and cool, and they all have like this consistent sort of sludgy eyeball sort of design to them. And I look forward to completing it, and I love Luca and I love Rem and I love the two of them together. And so that's why it's my number 20. It felt like a nice return from Heart Machine. Number 19, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. This is a game that feels good to play at almost all times, really drives that momentum gameplay home in a really outstanding way, and just really helped reinforce a piece of music culture that I didn't know that I loved and have come to love a great deal. My number 18 is Grease. This might be the first game that I've played in the more modern era of indie games where I'm like, yeah, video games are art. And it's just beautiful to look at all times. And I love listening to the soundtrack pretty constantly. Whenever there's 5 minutes of air space that needs filled on the radio, sometimes I'll just throw in the Unagi theme from this game. 17 is Death's Door. I think just the overall design of the game is really attractive in almost every way, but also introduced to me this concept of the Goldilocks zone in video games, the Goldilocks difficulty, the Goldilocks game length, the Goldilocks everything. So it's just a really well-designed game from top to bottom. Number 16 for me is Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut. What a game that goes so many different places, and there's something to draw from for pretty much any person that has ever felt romance in their life at all. And it's just such an incredibly designed game and so artfully done, and with incredible voice acting from just a couple of voice actors.
So this is number 15 through 11 now. My number 15 is Blueprints. What an endless series of discoveries this game has you making. It is a journey of learning, of puzzle solving, of intrigue and mystery for pretty much as much time as you want to play it. You could play this for hundreds of hours and still find new things to do. I haven't found every single room in this game yet. I haven't done every single achievement. But there are people out there who are committed to that, and I admire the heck out of them. I really respect that. But in my time with Blueprints, I found just a lot of exciting discovery all throughout this game. My number 14 is Cocoon. This is the kind of the culmination of these wordless, speechless adventure games where you're puzzle solving along the way, and it does so with such an interesting sci-fi world with bugs and worlds inside of other worlds that blows your mind. Number 13 is Inscription. What a trip this game is. It is unique. There's no other game like Inscription. It breaks the fourth wall. It finds so many ways to explore what it's doing gameplay-wise. If you like card games and escape rooms and experimental stories, this is the game for you. Unpacking an emotional journey of a person's life through their things. Placing things is a very meditative experience in this game. You don't feel the pressure to move as fast as you can. I played this game very slowly, and I'm glad I did. But no matter how you play Unpacking, you're going to come up with a system or at least absorb this very interesting story of a person through their things. And I think you can tell almost anyone's story through the things that they have. That's what this game proves. Grun is my number 11. This game is a wild trip where you're never sure what you're going to see or do. It is a tiny sandbox world where you have to just experiment, solve some puzzles, learn the chaotic rules of this particular abstract place until you can do this entire sequence that brings you to the end of the game. And I found the whole thing thrilling. So those are my 15 through 11.
All right. My 15 through 11, starting at 15, is Outer Wilds. This is a game that spent a lot of early Underplayed at a very different spot on the list. I often found this game frustrating, but grew to love it largely through the music of Andrew Prallo, doing a lot of work there, but fell more and more in love with it. The physics that are in this game are just so incredibly designed, and it's just fun to fly around. It's fun to crash into Giant's Deep. It's fun to try and land on the Sun Station. So I love Outer Wilds. My number 14 is Bat Boy. I think I've mentioned this in a couple episodes since the Bat Boy episode. There are things that I sort of forgot about Bat Boy. There are characters that are really kind of abhorrent, and I did not love them, but I totally forgot about them because the gameplay is so tight and feels so good pretty much at all times, and the level designs are really fascinating. So nevertheless, despite some questionable writing choices, Bat Boy is still an enjoyable game to play. My 13 is Blasphemous. This was sort of like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro for me before we started Underplayed. So just for a long time, it was on my shelf, and it's just like, oh God, I've heard this is hard. Someday I'll play it. And then I had to, and I was blown away. I always loved the pixel art for the most part, and had looked forward to it. I really tend to gravitate toward dark, sort of grotesque pixel art these days, and Blasphemous does that a little bit too much, but nevertheless, the gameplay was amazing and gave us some items that I've never seen in another Metroidvania game. Number 12 is Hollow Knight Silksong. I don't have a ton to say on this because there's still so much of the game that I haven't seen, again, because of all of our time constraints here at Underplayed. But nevertheless, it's a game that everybody was just waiting for forever, and it didn't disappoint. My primary complaint for it is that I find it too difficult, and it's too difficult on purpose. That's not my favorite thing, but everything else about it is really cool, and I love that they've added a stronger element of non-organic elements in the game, like machines and, mechanical buildings, whereas Hollow Knight was more organic, all top to bottom. Number 11, Cult of the Lamb. I think this is a great mix of like a farming sim, resource management, but also roguelike fun, with great art design and just controls that feel really good for most weapons at most times, but really awesome monster designs throughout each of the dungeons.
These lists are very exciting. I love all the picks.
I want to take a look at my list between that and 50 before we get into our top 10s. I would have thought I would have Donut County a little bit higher, but it's up against a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I had it higher than you, I think.
Yeah, and I think it is still one of my favorite soundtracks, but at the end of the day, the game design is just a little bit too simple for me to put it a little bit higher, I think. Not to dog Donut County, my child's favorite video game of all time.
Well, it can be your child's favorite, not necessarily your favorite, but it can still be on your list.
I guess I don't often get the urge to play Stray, even though I have a lot of things that I still need to complete in that game. I do still love cats, but otherwise, I don't have much to say, I think, as much as I thought I had to say.
Yeah, that's fair. We did, still seeing crossover here, like your Cult of the Lamb placement way higher than mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I really love that you have it so high, and I still need to play that DLC for that game.
Well, we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Okay. Previewing a future category.
Yeah.
Okay, number 10 through number 6.
Do we want to go one by one back and forth?
Yeah, that sounds good.
We can comment on each other's.
Sure. My number 10 is A Space for the Unbound. A Space for the Unbound is a story about high schoolers in Indonesia, and there is sort of an apocalypse impending. And this game has kind of a sci-fi setup where they can space dive into people's thoughts and see their inner psyches. And what this game is to me is just a super ambitious story that by the end had me crying because of how emotional it was. I don't really want to say a lot about what happens. I think it's a very special experience that I don't want to spoil for people, but A Space for the Unbound sort of remains, after a few years now, remains as one of my favorite story-heavy games that we've played. And I definitely want to replay this.
Yeah, this is one, I don't have it in the category, but maybe it is one I wish I could play again for the first time. Because I did play this on a deadline, and you'll notice that it hadn't appeared on my list at all. And this was a game that was a little bit too long for me and had a little bit too much walking in between special story moments that playing it on a deadline kind of really dampened my experience with the game that I might have otherwise maybe would have liked.
Yeah, that's understandable.
My number 10 is Unpacking.
Ah, nice.
I echo everything that you said. I really loved just seeing all the things that we carry with us. As someone that loves stuff, I have stuff. It's really special to me to see just those small trinkets that go from childhood to adulthood and maybe disappear for brief periods of time and then come back. Echoing getting stuff from your parents' basement at some point in your life. And I look at all of my children's things, and I have things that I've selected that I'm I hope that my child sees this at the end of their life and that it's not just something that ends up in a landfill because someone else thinks it's worthless.
And if they don't take it with them in the next phase of life, you'll hang on to it.
I will.
You want to preserve it for them.
Yeah.
And for yourself.
If my spouse puts it in the trash, I'll dig it out. I don't care. Yeah. I'll do it.
Cool.
This stuff matters to me. Yeah. Plus the pixel art's amazing. So it always looks good to look at.
All right. Do you want to just go into your number 9?
Sure. My number 9 is Inscription.
Nice.
This is a game that I was looking forward to. And I kind of had it in the same bucket as Loop Hero and Slay the Spire. And was I way off, I think. Inscription is its own animal. This game is so special. I don't know if it changed me, but I think about it all the time. And for maybe more than a year, this would be the game I would play if it's 1:30 a.m. and I'm I'm not ready to go to bed just yet. I'll just throw on Inscription and try a Casey's mod run.
Yeah.
I loved it that much. It was so fun and so cool. And it's just so fun to play. I love this game.
Between the two of us, you were the one who kept dipping into this game. You were the Casey's mod fanatic.
Oh yeah. I love Casey's mod. And the base game itself is also awesome from start to finish for the most part. But just adding Casey's mod on top of it, it was a 9.5 in the episode, but I would change it to 10 if I had the power.
Oh, well, gosh, I'm seeing Inscription at my number 13, your number 9, Unpacking my number 12, your number 10. We've got some really close placements here. And up next, my number 9 is another pretty close placement. For me, number 9 is Outer Wilds. The sense of discovery in Outer Wilds, it gave me goosebumps then. It gives me goosebumps when I think about it now. This is one of those games where the first 5 hours can be incredibly perplexing and such an uphill battle to try to understand what you're supposed to do. But once you get past those 5 hours, maybe closer to 10 hours, I know that sounds like a lot, but you might discover one of your favorites and unique gaming experiences. It's a game that celebrates the wonders of outer space and science and exploration, and no other game does what this game does. That's what you're going to hear us say a lot, probably, that in the top 10, you just don't see other games doing a lot of what these top 10 games do. And so Outer Wilds being our 10th featured game ever really opened my eyes to the world of indie games and what's possible. And I'm still on the lookout for the next game like this.
There's something special that Outer Wilds does too that other alien sci-fi media, I think, fails to do pretty consistently. And that's it shows us life and worlds that are possible, but have you heard the phrase "life as we know it"?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever there's aliens in movies, it's always like corporeal beings that are usually bilaterally symmetrical in some way and have like limbs. And I like that Outer Wilds is like, we can have different kinds of life. We can have twin planets that share sand across time. And it shows us a universe that isn't exactly as we know it, but is totally like possible.
And it's a game where you're running around for many hours, maybe 20, 30 hours or more. And there are secrets that are just hiding in plain sight. Things like, the moon that disappears and reappears depending on where you're looking, how the sand works between those planets. Just when you go to Giant's Deep, there are lots of interesting mechanics there. There are massive things hiding in plain sight. And then once you learn a key piece of knowledge, it shifts your understanding about everything around you. And that just always blows my mind. Let's do number 8.
Okay. My number 8 is another Crab's Treasure. This is a game I was looking forward to coming out for a long time, and then it came out and it was even better than I expected. I had been keeping my eye on it because I had been playing Going Under, and my expectations were more in the Going Under sphere of things, which I also grew to love even more after the episode recording. But man, what a game. What a cool world, and what a fascinating way to stick to the things that matter to you as a developer. Because in Going Under, we see a lot of like environmentally minded anti-capitalist messaging, and that takes the form of crabs wearing trash as clothes in really like fashionable and cool ways, but just goes to show you the impact of the human world on everyone around it. But it doesn't rest on that entirely. It's still a combat first gameplay game, and it feels good all the time, and exploring is really fun, and all the different types of creatures that you can encounter are just really fun to encounter and fight.
It's got quantity and quality. It's got such a massive world, but there's not that much fluff in the game.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you're going to have hours of exploration and stuff to find. And it's incredible what they pulled off. Like the production values are just so great, and it looks great. All the different environments are awe-inspiring. Yeah.
Fun boss fights.
Oh,
so
totally.
Good. Yeah.
And I've played my fair share of Souls-likes, like more AAA Souls-likes, and it stands among them, in my opinion. I think it earns its place among the pantheon of like great Souls-like games. And they took their time with this game. It really shows. It really does show. It's so polished. My number 8 is Return of the Obra Dinn. This is a game that had me so absorbed in figuring things out. I remember sitting down with Return of the Obra Dinn, and again, like Outer Wilds, kind of banging my head against the wall before this, but then having a night where I matched up the identities and faces of like many crew members in this game. And I was just on a roll because this game has intrigue. It shows you these really interesting scenes of death, and you have to figure out who's who on this ship. And you're basically like interacting with these dead people, and you're only seeing a snapshot, the moment they died. You have to figure out what happened, who they are, until you solve the whole book of the ship, of all the crew members. Some of them are super easy to figure out. They sort of ease you into this, but others require different kinds of information, like how distant someone sounds like they're talking, because of course you can hear the scene before you look at the snapshot of death. What kind of accent are they using? What clothes are they wearing? And so you learn about what goes on a ship and the roles on this crew, and that's fascinating too. So also this visual style, the 1-bit style, is something you just don't see that often. And it shows that a lot of detail can be portrayed with just a couple colors going on.
Yeah. I don't have much to add to it. This game is sort of like, there's something about this game that is the difference between the puzzle games you enjoy and the puzzle games that I enjoy. There's just like a part of my brain where that knowledge doesn't work as well. But nevertheless, the art style was always something I was interested in, and just like has the same appeal that, draws me in from the Playdate. Like, I still really want a Playdate today. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Return of the Oberdin. My number 7 is Hollow Knight, the first one. Before Underplayed, this was one of the indie games that I had already sunk several hours into.
Yeah, totally.
And so I did get to play this without a deadline, and I had replayed it multiple times, and I still really enjoy it. I love the world. I love most of the bosses, and I just think it's really fun. The collection game in this, the completion collection game in this Hollow Knight is really enjoyable. And when you have a really fun completion game, then you're gonna go a long way with me. So Hollow Knight is there for me. I like it a little bit more than Silksong because I think the difficulty is a little bit more reasonable and the game length as well. But nevertheless, there's still great amount of challenge, and you can even add more and more challenge on top of that if you so desire. And I think if I'm comparing and contrasting the two, I prefer like the charm system in this game to what we have going on in Silksong, and that allows for a much more diverse way to play.
I remember swapping out charms a lot and just like trying things, whereas in Silksong, I feel like when I found a crest that I really liked, and some of those, I guess maybe they're called charms, the charms you slot in,
right?
Those didn't change too much unless you found like, a really awesome game-changing one, like adding poison to your attacks or something. But I was experimenting more in the first one.
For sure. My number 6 is Sayonara Wild Hearts. A lot of this will have to do with the music. I think the music in this game is incredible, which is good because that's the focus. The whole level is built around a track. It's an interactive album, and the art direction is really solid. I like that we have like 3 or 4 levels per Scott Pilgrim Evil X, so to speak, and then we get a cool boss fight level with them that has lyrics. It's got a pattern that repeats, which is like tickling that Mega Man part of my brain. We also get indie pop, which is the other part of my brain. And just to focus in on Underplayed, it was our first and only mutual 10, as I recall. We've had some mutual 10s among guests, but this was our very first and only mutual 10. So Sayonara Wild Hearts will always be special for being an awesome purple music album and just being a special game in the Underplayed pantheon.
Yeah, that was a very special episode and a special game for both of us. I think that this game was sort of like an injection that I needed for like feeling passionate about indie games. Like when I played Sayonara Wild Hearts, I think I had played a lot of games that I just wasn't quite sure about that I had been looking forward to. But then Sayonara Wild Hearts kind of reminded me, oh yeah, this is why I love indie games. The artistry on display, the awesome music, the incredibly fun gameplay, all coming together to form something that is just like a once in a lifetime experience for me. I am going to go back to number 7 because we have the same number 6 there, Sayonara Wild Hearts. I'm going to go back to number 7 and just say that my number 7 is Celeste.
Oh, did I skip you?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
My number 7 is Celeste. This is a platformer that is one of the best platformers I've ever played, that has so much to offer in terms of interesting challenges with just the standard levels themselves and changing up what you're doing every level, to collecting all the strawberries and other challenges in the game, like the B-sides and the C-sides. But then also it is a game that is a story about mental health. And I don't think a lot of 2D platformers can pull that balance off like Celeste can. What an incredible soundtrack by Lena Raine as well. I just think this game has everything. It's so good.
Yeah, this was a surprise for me. This is one that I was dreading for a long time because when we started it, I was still a 100% completionist no matter what type of person, which is still mostly true. But when I played Celeste, I found myself like really invested in the one more try part of it. And I really wanted to get that damn strawberry and get to the end of the level.
And you'll sometimes take 100 or more deaths to get that one strawberry.
Yeah. And then I was even more surprised when I started doing B-sides, and it cut away everything else about the game. It cut away Mr. What's his name from the hotel chasing me. All I have to do is platform and dash, and it's just the gameplay. And I really loved the B-sides, and I didn't expect that because they are pretty difficult.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting into our top 5s now. What's your top 5? What's number 5?
My number 5 is Hades.
Oh, nice.
This is a massive game that taught me maybe I really do like roguelites. The art direction is incredible. No surprise from Supergiant. That's what they do. But the gameplay just always felt so good. It has the Hyperlight Drifter dash as its main movement mechanic, and then you add all these cool weapons and all the different boons. And I've always had a love of like the Greek god pantheon as well. And so when you put that into a game and each of them has their own unique art design and their own unique set of boons that do their own kind of unique thing, is just like a cool set of things I can collect too. And I really loved this game pretty much from top to bottom. There were parts where I felt like I was hitting my head against a wall too, and it just felt like I would never overcome the game and that it seemed impossible. But then I did get to the end, and then I added more and more heat to a point, and I think I did reach a plateau. Either whether it was time or difficulty, I did stop playing it after a while. But because of that, I look forward to Hades 2. I've heard nothing but good things. I don't know if it'll overtake Hades, but if it's anything like Hades, it will be an awesome game.
I'm definitely going to be catching up with Hades 2 probably this year when I have free time. There's just a lot of like sequels we've gotten. Slay the Spire 2, Hades 2, some others, and I definitely want to catch up on that. And I've heard some people say it's their favorite between the two, so we'll see. But yeah, Hades, I remember you getting super into that, kind of in the same way that you got into Inscription.
A little bit. That was probably the Inscription before Inscription.
The game you just kept going back to. So that's super sweet to see in your top 5. My number 5 is Animal Well. This is a game I was looking forward to for years, and it really did deliver on expectations. This is a game where this guy, Billy Basso, created this world of dark labyrinths and strange puzzles and rules, and you are this little blob guy, and all you get are these traditional toys like a yo-yo, a frisbee, a bubble wand, etc., and you use these pacifist tools to explore this underground labyrinth that just keeps going and going and going. And the mystery is there, the intrigue is there. Again, like Outer Wilds, there are secrets hiding in plain sight. And I love stuff like that. Animal Well is chock full of secrets and mysteries that I love uncovering. And I still think about it to this day. I've played it through twice. I'm not one of those sickos that will do like all the speed runs because speed running just isn't my thing. But I love pretty much everything else about this game and its multiple layers. All the Easter eggs to find are super exciting. And I did use a guide to find some of them. But the reward for getting through that next layer of the game is always enticing in Animal Well.
Yeah, I equally was looking forward to it for a long time as well. I was keeping an eye on social media during like development and stuff. And even though it was much lower on my list because I felt that a lot of the traversal to be too ambiguous for me to figure out, I never stopped loving the art style, and I want more games to look like this. I want to play as a non-copyright Digimon, Bodemon in more games as well. So just the next game that looks like Animal Well, I'm ready for it.
Heck yeah.
Okay, my number 4 is Untitled Goose Game.
Wow.
This is a game that I would say probably changed me in a lot of ways. It's just fun. It's like there's sandbox games where you have so many options and you can go so many places. Untitled Goose Game is kind of it's a sandbox game, but it's disciplined, it's not too big, and your only goal is to be as much of a menace as you can be or want to be. And like, I don't know if it was because of Untitled Goose Game, but in my family at home, we are a family that plays pranks on each other. Like, that's one of my favorite things to do.
Oh yeah, the magazines or the brochures that you get. Yeah.
At my office, somehow I have a subscription to Bassmaster. And if you know me or have seen my body at all, you probably could predict I don't care about fishing even a little bit. But somehow I get Bassmaster sent to my office. Well, what I do is I take those Bassmasters home and I will put them in my kid's pillowcase or put them in my wife's purse. And it's just one of the many pranks that my family has that we play on each other. And that's called Bassmastering.
And you have to do that without them seeing. And
exactly.
This is a game where you have to do things without people seeing you.
Yes.
All over.
Yes. And I've got my kids in on it and they all do it sometimes. And it's so fun. We love the goose. The goose is the goat.
Love it. My gosh.
And also the like goose game effect of just like trying to do these massive, unnecessary, silly tasks in games.
Yeah.
Like trying to get every single item in the lake. I call that the goose game effect. There's other games where you can do these other tasks that like, why would you do that other than to be silly and waste time?
Yeah, it trains you to look at games in a new way. The game is actually letting you cross off an item on your to-do list in this case for a lot of these things, but you might move on from Untitled Goose Game to the next game and go, wait, I could inject a little fun energy here.
Yeah.
I could, try to get all these items into this room. Can they all fit?
Yeah.
That's super sweet. Also, I just love the dynamic soundtrack of the game, how it reacts to what you're doing. It feels like your particular actions have this unique effect on the soundscape too.
It's like someone's just like sitting there composing as you go.
Yeah,
too. It's
watching you.
Crazy.
Yeah. Love it. My number 4 is a game we have not discussed on our show. It's the only game in my top 10 that we have not reviewed on our show, but it is a featured game candidate that was always on our list. We just never picked it. It's Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. This is just such a good 2D platformer that I had the chance to play years ago, and it's always stuck with me. It's 8-bit retro style platforming at its finest, made in a more modern era by Yacht Club Games. Yacht Club Games really cares about what they do. It shows in every inch of Shovel Knight. The bosses are all so fun to play against. When you get pretty skilled at this game, a lot of them you can beat on the first try, and it just feels really satisfying when you pull off that combo against a boss or figure out a platforming challenge. I think Shovel Knight is actually pretty brutal with like pits and stuff. If you fall in a pit, you just fall like a rock down and you lose some of your money and then you have to go get it back, which might be a turnoff for some people. But the trade-off there is when you figure out a series of rooms in Shovel Knight, it just feels very satisfying. None of the levels are too long. It's the right difficulty and balance and length level to level that you just want to keep playing it, or at least I do.
That's a game you'll notice didn't appear on my list, and it's not because I dislike it. I never finished it. So on my 3DS in my backpack right now, I have Shovel Knight downloaded on my 3DS.
Nice.
And I'm at the last level. I just never beat the last level. I couldn't pull it off in the time frame that I had, because I think I downloaded it onto my 3DS when I was maybe a junior in college.
Yeah.
And so I was just busy.
I remember when we did our radio show at KZUM, you were also like in the middle of Shovel Knight back then.
Is that right?
You were like, yeah, you hadn't finished the game yet, and you were telling me about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of the longest playthroughs in history.
I have Shovel Knight on the weirdest. I have it on the 3DS, and then I have my physical, my special complete physical or whatever on Wii U. And this was before Treasure Trove, so I don't know if that's even different than the one I have.
Well, what Treasure Trove added too was the ability to play as a lot of the bosses in their own campaigns. So like Plague Knight, for instance, you can play as Plague Knight for the whole game. And I have not even done that yet. I want to do all those playthroughs.
I did a little bit of the Plague Knight one too. I started that, but I think that's it.
Well, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Gravity Circuit.
Oh, nice.
Now, until very recently, I had this a little bit lower on the list, not because it was a bad game, but because of one thing you said to me in the Gravity Circuit episode. You were like, Gravity Circuit is a great Mega Man-like and is better than most Mega Man games. And I reevaluated and I was like, he's right. It is better than most Mega Man games. I moved it to number 3. Gravity Circuit feels incredible all the time. The controls are tighter than a lot of Mega Man games. The movement speed is a wonderful modern improvement to the formula, because after you start playing, Mega Man X, Mega Man starts to seem slow. And after you start playing Mega Man Zero, X kind of starts to feel slow. And then Gravity Circuit is just that next perfect right movement speed at all times. And the controls are great, and it adds its own flavor to the formula. Instead of using arm cannons and Z-sabers, you use your fists and a grapple chain. And I usually hate grapple chains in games. Like, I hate grappling, but Gravity Circuit does it perfectly, and all the bosses look cool. And in recent news, Gravity Circuit 2 is coming, which I didn't know how they were going to pull that off. I still don't totally know where these bosses are going to come from within the confines of the lore of Gravity Circuit's world. But nevertheless, I could not be more excited. And it follows the Mega Man formula of like not changing the art style, not changing the character sprite, so to speak. It looks like two games that stand together in its own world. I love when they are like consistent from game to game like that.
It's coming next year, and it really feels like the right thing happened. The right thing happened. We got a sequel to Gravity Circuit. We just as easily could have not gotten one. So that is very exciting. I'm excited for both of us to play that. My number 3 is Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was, I think, my first 10 on Underplayed.
It was
at the beginning of season 2. And this game is so incredible, top to bottom. I just remember thinking this is the best Metroidvania I've ever played. And I was so impressed at how any person playing it could do things in whatever order they wanted. Of course, you're not going to be able to do every single thing right away because of like needing certain upgrades to get through certain locked doors and such. But I remember thinking like, wow, all these bosses that I'm encountering, none of them feel like I need a double jump. None of them feel like I need a certain amount of health. You can approach things in so many ways in Hollow Knight, and the world shifts and changes as the game goes on and gives you something entirely new. So you could look at the map and think, wow, the game's massive. It's this big. It's got 15 large areas. Well, even those areas, a lot of them will change throughout the game. And the bestiary is massive. The emotion, the tone, the sort of heaviness to this world, despite it being about a bunch of bugs, is very mature and steady and kind of stoic in a lot of places. There's darkness to this game, and I love exploring all that. There's literal darkness with the southwest corner of the map. I'm for Deep Nest. Deep Nest is a harrowing place, but Deep Nest itself is just one of over a dozen different like large areas that each have their own identity. And so, yeah, Hollow Knight's just incredibly special. I'm going to be talking more about this universe in the next placement.
Can I mention real quick that I even forgot to mention this? A shout out to Christopher Larkin too for adding so much to this world. Christopher Larkin composed the music for both Hollow Knight and Silksong. But it goes such a long way. Like when you go to the place with the jellyfish, the music perfectly reflects this like gooey kind of place with all these dangerous floating jellyfish bombs, and just the music matches the scenery perfectly.
Oh, it's so good. Yes. Shout out to Christopher Larkin.
My number 2, we're on 2 now, is Iconoclasts.
Oh, yeah.
This is my second favorite indie game of all time. It's been that way for years. Nothing has managed to dethrone that game from the number 2 spot. I just think from top to bottom, this is the perfect modern SNES platformer. It's got an incredible story with incredible characters that grow, and you learn more about them throughout the game. The tone of the game shifts so dramatically from start to finish, but it does it incrementally in a way that like holds your hand from one moment to the next. Like when you start the game, the dialogue and the music and the art style makes you think that this is just another bright and sunny 1992 platformer. But by the end of the game, you've gone through so much and lost so much, and you've changed the world in ways that didn't seem possible. And I just think this game is really incredible. Everything about it, the music, the art style, the gameplay. Yeah, I love it so much. I'm secretly afraid for you to play this someday because I'm worried that you won't like it as much as me.
Oh, well, one thing I meant to mention before we started going through our lists is I do have a resolution, Disco Cola,
Okay.
to go through your top 100 indie games and play all of the ones that I have not played.
That's quite a task because there's at least 4 or 5 in there.
I know. Well, I mean, Iconoclast is the top one. I've got to play that. I've got to play that. But yeah, there are others like Dandara and...
You would like Dandara, I'm pretty sure.
And Ghost Song and Downwell and Electhead. Games that I...
You haven't played Electhead yet?
I haven't, no.
Oh, man.
I played Ooh, but not Electhead.
You got to play Electhead.
Isn't that crazy? But it's your enthusiasm for a lot of these games that make me want to play them.
Yeah, but sometimes that's a bit of a poison pill, Like, I just...
Well, part of it, too, is just... this bond we have and this thing that we have in common, this thing that we've done, this show.
Yeah.
It makes me want to play these blind spots to kind of like know you better too.
Yeah. Well, if you don't love it, just don't tell me.
I suspect I'll like it. It's your number 2, so I don't expect to love it as much as you, but I think I'll enjoy it.
Okay.
My number 2 is Hollow Knight Silksong. I think we've talked a lot about Hollow Knight, both Hollow Knight and Hollow Knight Silksong a lot already, but this is a sequel that was well worth the 7+ year wait. I would have waited a few more years because I think this game is so special. I have now done everything in Act 3. I beat Act 3 of this game recently.
Nice.
So I went back and I got the like true ending and everything. And God, I just think it does so many things that Hollow Knight 1 does, but better. These games are right next to each other in my list, number 3 and number 2. And so it could be recency has a part to play here, but a lot of the placements in my list where it's like the first game and a sequel, a lot of them happen side by side. And so this is my favorite, original game and sequel in my list. And I think Silksong set a new bar for indie game sequels and just sequels in general for gaming, because it is that good. It's that beautiful, that polished, that emotional. I love everything about Silksong. It's pretty much a perfect game for me.
Nice. I'm looking forward to physicals and then also the announcement of Hollow Knight PS5 as well, which I didn't expect.
Is it not on PS5?
If it is, I don't know about it, but it is getting a physical for PS5.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So cool. Well, is that time for number 1?
Time for number 1.
Do you want to say my number 1? I think you know it.
Yeah, I think it's Hyperlight Drifter.
It's Hyperlight Drifter. This has been my favorite indie game since I've played it. This game changed me in so many ways. Incredible music by Disasterpiece, incredible gameplay. I love dashing around. I love slashing my sword. I love doing the bullet animation cancel at the same time and doing 2 damage instead of 1.
Hell yeah.
I love collecting the gear bits. I love the 4-quadrant system, and each quadrant has 8 modules you can find. It's just, there's so many patterns, there's so many sets of things, and it's fun to complete top to bottom. It feels good to play. The world design is amazing, and it opened up a part of my brain that is attracted to vibrant pinks and greens together. And I didn't know that I loved that until Hyperlight Drifter came out. And what an incredible trailer. One of like maybe 3 trailers ever that is, I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh, I'm buying that game right now before the trailer even concludes. I just love everything about it. Yeah, that's
yeah.
It's really that
like,
simple.
It's like one of his favorite games, folks. Like, period. So, I mean, it's your favorite non-Mega Man game, right?
And it's like I have it, I think, at number 4. Yeah, pretty sure.
One of my big regrets in Underplayed history is Sort of before we got comfortable talking more at length about featured games, we reviewed Hyperlight Drifter in our first season. And I wish that would have happened later when we were like just more used to the format we had eventually picked up, where, you know, we'd talk for maybe 50 to 60 minutes about a featured game.
Yeah, it
just so
wasn't
that I could hear you like gush about this game more.
It wasn't uncommon for season 1 episodes to be under an hour.
Yeah. Super short, because we just, you know, we eventually got more comfortable with talking for longer, which is awesome. But yeah, I just know how much you love this game. So I'm glad you get to give this game its flowers here. And now I would like to actually give you a little impromptu gift.
Okay.
I don't know if you have this already, but this is for you.
Okay, we'll see. I have some Hyperlight Drifter things, but not if it's Hyperlight Drifter related.
It is Hyperlight Drifter related.
I have some things, but not all the things.
Well, if you have this already, don't feel bad.
Okay.
And I won't feel bad either, because I truly didn't know if you have it.
I actually did just buy this a couple months ago.
You did?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, this comes from I Am 8-Bit.
Yes.
And I bought it in person.
Okay. So here's the thing about video game vinyls that I buy.
Yeah.
I don't open them.
You can open this one.
I can open that one.
Open this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Open it and enjoy it.
Ah, beautiful. Yes. One of the best video game soundtracks, if you ask me, from Disaster Piece. And this vinyl set looks incredible. And I think there's 4 LPs in here, and they're all like different colors, and they're those colors that I love so much. So yes, I'm really excited to have like 2 and you bought this in person, so that's really special.
They had 1 left.
Whoa, yeah.
And 1 left.
This was one that I like for years. I was just like, it's too expensive, I can't buy it. And then it went on sale one time. I'm like, okay, this is the time.
Yeah.
The other LP I need to get is the Machinarium soundtrack, and it sells out every time.
Is that also from I Am 8-Bit?
No, it's there. It's from some Czech company, I think, but that's the other one.
Gotcha. All right.
Well, thank you for that. That's a very special
You're
gift.
absolutely welcome. I'm glad that you can keep one sealed and one opened.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the other cool ones I have sealed, which is like not technically indie, is the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack from Anamanaguchi, which is very good. If you've heard Anamanaguchi out there,
I love Anamanaguchi.
They're like, everything they do sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I used to listen to them a lot in high school.
Well, it's time for your number one.
And do you want to say what it is?
I want to say what it is. It is Cuphead.
That's right. This game is just part of my DNA. This game is so fun. I love it, and I feel like I'm kind of naturally pretty good at it. I will kind of brag in this one spot, because like I love playing this game, and I feel like I'm okay at it, at least. I can beat a lot of the bosses with just a few tries, or maybe just on the first try. And I just love how this game looks. I love the music. I love playing co-op in this game. I love the achievements. I have gotten 100% achievements on PlayStation. I want to get them on Steam as well. Gosh, I think Studio MDHR is just, they're in their own class. I have their art book for this game. It's like a coffee table book. And I love just like flipping through that and reading about the magic that goes into making a game like this. It's the type of artistry that very few studios are willing to put in the efforts to do. And also it just requires the right sort of like artisans to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there are only like a small subset of humans on the planet that could probably put together a game like this.
Yeah. And
so it's a special game for that reason. And just everything it does is so polished. The polish of this game is really what I love. And it's just one that I can return to time and time again and always have a blast with. So it is a gameplay first game. It's not going to have a story that will stand the test of time or be in the annals of like awesome stories. But Cuphead, as a video game, it is quite a video game.
Yeah. For me, the thing that blows me away the most is just the artistry that goes into it. Anything that kind of like replicates this era of gone by animation, just in general. Like I've loved cartoons pretty much since forever. I still do. And I love when games like apply that art style or any, gone by art style to something new and interesting that still feels within the realm of the world that they're pulling from. And Cuphead is that. And so I've always loved looking at Cuphead. Some of it gets a little bit too hard for me to love it as much as you do, because you definitely carried our fight against King Dice for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't look forward to attempting that without a co-op partner.
Well, a lot of fights like King Dice, they test your memory and your reaction time. And I think it's a game that really does tell you what you're doing wrong very well. So you always suck at a boss at first. My first time playing through, I was horrible at the game. But if you just pay attention to the tells and to the patterns and you count out a few things, the game gives you everything you need to succeed. But then also moments like King Dice, fights like that have what I call like juggly mechanics. And I'm a juggler. It's one of my big hobbies in life. And so I love games that feel juggly. And sometimes Cuphead can give me that satisfaction. So those are our top 100 indie games.
Oof, I'm glad you're still with us.
Yes, that was quite a long discussion, like you anticipated.
Yep.
But
I don't see how it couldn't be.
Also, our lists are based on our very incomplete play histories with the landscape of indie games. There are tons of big games that we have not played. Games are coming out all the time that I wish I could play. And so it is just based on our limited histories of games. Everybody has blind spots. Everybody has lists of shame, but everybody also has the list of games that they have played. And so that makes our lists very special and particular to us. So I'm glad we could celebrate that. We will move on to a smaller category.
Yeah, the rest of the categories are pretty small by comparison.
The rest will be top 5s,
yeah,
not top 100s. So it'll be more relaxed. But next is the top 5 indie games we recommend to non-indie gamers.
So I don't remember what we had in mind when we first picked this topic. When I chose it, when I picked my games this time around, I was thinking of gamers that are mostly AAA gamers and what I would recommend to
them. So
the
interpretation is games we'd recommend to non-indie gamers or games we'd recommend to non-indie gamers.
Right. Instead of people who don't play video games.
Right. That's how I interpreted
the distinction I'm drawing.
I think that's how I mostly interpreted it too. Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, do you want to start?
Sure. Let's talk about the one that introduced the Goldilocks zone to me. Let's say Death's Door.
Yeah.
This is for a lot of those people that like those challenging, Souls-like games, but is more restrained, more disciplined, and just a shorter sit altogether, but has a definite indie game feeling.
Well, this is also a good recommendation to non-indie gamers because this game reminded me a lot of certain Zelda games, and those are very popular. And I remember thinking this is doing kind of modern top-down Zelda better than a lot of modern top-down Zelda games are doing, which is why I love it so much. So that's a great pick. I wouldn't have thought about that one. For the first pick here, I'm going to go with The Room.
Oh.
This is a puzzle game that resembles an escape room style gameplay. And I'm just going with the first one because it's the most straightforward. I'm picking The Room because there aren't a lot of AAA games that do what The Room does. It is still a style of puzzle solving that I think a lot of people are kind of familiar with. A lot of people have done something like an escape room or just sort of like an in-person sort of puzzle that's very interactive. This game gives you the opportunity to do that style of game in the first person, in a video game fashion. And if you like The Room, oh my gosh, there are several more.
There are more.
The Room, there are several more that put it on the box. So that's why I picked it.
Interesting. I did not put any puzzle games on my list because in general, I have this stereotypical impression that non-indie gamers are not really looking for puzzle games in general. But
that's fair.
I'm being very judgy.
Well, You could look at it from two ways that I think are very valid. Like, they don't play a lot of puzzle games, so you don't want to recommend one. Or maybe you want to recommend one because they don't play them.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, my next one that I'll mention is Inside.
Oh, nice.
Now, cards on the table, I've said this before. I love Limbo. Between the two, between Inside and Limbo, I love Limbo way more.
And I do too. Yeah.
But I think there is a certain amount of Limbo that maybe will look a bit dated and will not appeal to non-indie gamers in the same way that Inside does. And so if I want a non-indie gamer to get into indie games the same way that I did when Limbo changed my life, I'm probably going to show them Inside instead and have them experience just this off-the-wall story that is just, that you can only really find in these like dark indie platformers.
Yeah, and the dark indie platformers that don't use speech or text, barely any text, like the wordless experience. That's something we see so often in indie games. My next pick is The Gardens Between. Ooh. So this is another side-scrolling game, but this one's very accessible and approachable because it gives you the opportunity to rewind time. And you can kind of mess up, but there aren't really fail states in this game. If you don't progress the time correctly, you basically just rewind until you find the thing you need to do. And I am also picking this because it's a gentle game. It's a game about children. It's a heartfelt, emotional story, and one that I think just almost anyone could sit down and enjoy. So that's why I'm picking it.
All righty. My next one, and maybe this isn't the best, but I'm going to say Slay the Spire. Between all of the roguelike games that we played in our first 100 episodes of Underplayed, this, I think, has the most broad appeal, probably. But if the roguelite element doesn't draw you in, there's still a card game at play that's still pretty interesting. And if that doesn't draw you in, I know that there are so many people that love this medieval kind of fantasy style anyway. So at least there's that for the people that enjoy that. But this is a game that surprised me in a way that changed my thoughts even more on roguelites. And I already kind of liked deck building games, but it made that an even stronger love of mine.
And if you love Slay the Spire, there's more. There's the second one. There's another one. Very good pick. My next pick for game I'd recommend to a non-indie gamer, Before Your Eyes. Because how many AAA gamers are playing short, 2-hour games that use a webcam to track your eye blinking to advance a story? I think that would be a novel experience for a lot of people. A lot of people would be intrigued by that, interested by that, have not played a game like that. And then once they play it, they will probably be sobbing by the end because of how emotionally resonant the story is. So I just don't think that's something that's offered elsewhere. And even in indie games, we haven't run across that again.
Yeah.
At least I haven't. So
I've been thinking lately about how I've kind of missed certain parts of my children growing up because of how much I keep my head down and, keep going about the day. And it does kind of start to feel like as soon as you blink your eyes, it's over. So I wonder if I'd feel a little bit different about it, barring hardware complications. The next one I'm going to mention is Outer Wilds. We could throw this back to Jenny from the Coffee Talk episodes. She recommended Outer Wilds, and I totally agree. Even if you find the game daunting, overwhelming, frustrating like I did at first, it's still just fun as hell to fly around in space and see the boundaries of what you can pull off. Because you'll be surprised at what is possible in Outer Wilds, just messing around with crap. So for that element alone, I recommend that to non-indie gamers. But there's so much more for people who like exploration, people who like space, people who want a story that's told in a way I haven't really seen a lot of games tell a story.
Outer Wilds does seem like one of those few games that has crossed over into being just like such a part of the gaming zeitgeist that people who primarily play AAA games, like they're at least aware of it, and many of them have played Outer Wilds.
I should note here on that topic, like I left out Hollow Knights because at this point, like everybody knows what Hollow Knight is.
That's a good point.
I even left out Hades for a similar reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. My next pick here is Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I picked this because one dimension of enjoying a game is just the sound and the music, and music accompanies so many great AAA games and helps inform the identity. But here's a game that really flips things around, and it actually is making music a central part of the experience. I don't know that that's explored a lot in AAA games. And so I just think this could be a lot of people's new favorite soundtrack too.
Mm-hmm. My last one is Untitled Goose Game. I think this game is just so fun. There's so many silly things you can do. It's accessible for all ages. My mom played Untitled Goose Game.
Wow.
And I think that's the only video game that she's played in maybe 20 years. So Untitled Goose Game, I think the only people that will find something wrong with it are just like, why would I play a game where I'm a goose? In which case, like, get over yourself, man. But yeah, it's just a great game.
Yeah. Speaking of playing as animals, my last pick is another Crab's Treasure.
Ooh, good pick.
A lot of people are into the Souls-likes, the challenging action-adventure games. Here's a game that's very colorful and almost cozy looking and cute on the surface, but wow, this game is challenging, and it really does, again, like I said earlier, it stands up with those other Souls-like games out there. And I think maybe some people have not dug into this yet because maybe they just prefer the FromSoft dark medieval fantasy type games, but give this a shot. You'll soon see, if you have not played another Crab's Treasure, that it is inspired by some of your favorite games.
Cool. Well, our next topic is top 5 indie game developers. This one was hard for me because like a lot of game companies are releasing maybe like 1 or 2 games. So it's hard for me to sort of like deviate from the very obvious choices, you know, that have put out like 6 or 7 games that are really recognizable, like a lot of featured game stuff. So this one was a little bit hard for me, but I've got a couple on here.
Okay. I had my own rubric here where the developers had to have released at least 2 games, right? So I almost went with Studio MDHR, for instance. They're working on more Cuphead games. We didn't mention that, but like they're working on more stuff. But I wanted to shine the light on maybe some smaller studios or just studios that have been more consistent over time, releasing stuff that show more of a history. So that's where I took it here.
Okay.
So we'll talk about, you know, like why these developers are inspiring and why we love their work as we go. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you go ahead and start this one.
And we'll just go one at a time. My first pick for top 5 indie game developers, Color Grave. Is this in your list too?
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, we could talk about this one together. So I just want to read from their website, which reads, quote, "Hello, we're Color Grave, a small independent game development team with a focus on retro-style pixel art games." And I would add on to that, they're GBC style games where to play one of Color Grave's games is to like take a portal back, you know, 20, 25 years ago to the years of the Game Boy Color and to like play something that feels like it was made a long time ago, but you know, with a modern eye to it. I've only played Curse Crackers, For Whom the Bell Toils, and then I've played the demo for Curse Chapter Dawn Thief, but they've got Prodigal, Veritas, April Grove, and Claire a la Mode, many of which I have watched gameplay of, and I'm just in awe of what they're able to do, so faithfully recreating this style.
Yeah, not only the style, which is what drew me in at first, but they have this like sense of high momentum platforming that so few games really master in this way. And you can play the game and beat the game at a low level of platforming skill, but then if you really master all of the extra stuff that these games have to offer, you can zip through levels super fast and do some really incredible movement. And they just have a mastery on that on top of this incredible Game Boy Color art style mastery. And so They're one of the best out there. The only like thing that I really complain about is that their games are not on enough platforms.
Oh yeah.
And so I also have only played Curse Crackers because it's on Switch, and a lot of their other games are just stuck on PC.
I mean, I'm imagining a Color Grave collection.
I have asked for it online before.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe after Curse Chapter Dawn Thief comes out.
I hope so.
Yeah.
If you're listening, you can do what you want. You're independent and in charge of yourselves. But
it'd be a good idea.
I want you on more systems.
Well, I guess we'll count that as one pick for each of us.
Yep.
So I'll go with my next one.
Yeah.
My next pick for favorite indie game developers in our top 5 lists here, I'm going to go with Strange Scaffold.
Okay, that's a good pick. I haven't played any of their games, but go ahead.
Strange Scaffold is a developer and a publisher, and their range is incredible, and their output is stunning. They make so many different kinds of games with very strange, off-the-wall ideas that they just run with. Games like El Paso Elsewhere, I'm Your Beast, Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator, and Space Warlord Baby Trading Simulator, TMNT Tactical Takedown, Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion 3, Click Olding, an airport for aliens currently run by dogs. The list goes on. And their ethos is, let's make games affordably in a sort of a scrappy way, and let's not have these production cycles that are years and years long. Let's push out games maybe within 7 to 9 months. And I think that is a very interesting, refreshing thing to see in the video game landscape, and something that's very inspiring, I hope, to a lot of smaller indie developers too. And so it's this sort of mission that you can probably only see at the indie level. And it's just sustainable game development at this studio that just picks the ideas that I think a lot of other people would be way too afraid to explore.
Cool. I don't have much to add because, again, I haven't played any of their games. But yeah, and their social media interaction is on point.
Yes.
And on that topic, I will move into my next one, which is Aggro Crab. They make these really cool games. Going Under was really cool, and it was done in such a like funky art style that seemed a little bit silly. And then they went to Another Crab's Treasure and really upped the like production value. But at the core of it is fun. At the core of it is giving a damn about a better world, or criticizing the way in which we let ourselves run the world. And there are certainly ways where you can put that into games that feels like it's forced in, or put those topics into games as like a selling point. But you really get the sense that Aggro Crab gives a damn, and I love them for it. They seem like if Aggro Crab Collective was a person, I would want to be their friend.
Yes, totally.
And they just make really fun games that are fun to play. I haven't played Peak, which they had a part in playing.
Yeah.
Very
fun.
A part in making, but the 2 games that I have played are very solid.
They have a very strong brand voice.
Yes.
So when we talk about brand is more than just like a company's logo or colors. It's also how they carry themselves, how they make you feel, how they talk.
Mm-hmm.
And Aggro Crab has a very identifiable personality.
Yeah.
And I think that brand is infectious. And I've seen online, like on Twitter and Blue Sky, we've seen Aggro Crab like really explode and like cause trends because of how they joke around and have fun with promoting their games. Very good pick. My next pick for top 5 indie game developers, I'm going with Kinmoku.
Ooh,
it's a solo developer,
yeah.
The creator of One Night Stand, Videoverse, and the upcoming visual novel Ace and Arrow, Heart to Heart, which is going to be a game that celebrates asexuality. You know, I've only played Videoverse. I've heard you talk about One Night Stand, but it is running with an idea like, you know, what if someone had a one night stand? What could come about because of that? Or what if there was a massively popular video game system that also functioned as a social media platform, and it was being sunsetted for a new version, like what would be the fallout of that? These really interesting ideas that lead to conversations and story that are just awesome. Like I just really liked Videoverse. It's an experience that stuck with me. I'm looking forward to Ace and Arrow, and Kinmoku's just a lovely person too. Someone who loves absorbing stories and is passionate about sharing stories they've experienced with other people. And so when we got a chance to talk to Kinmoku, I put a lot of games on my lists, on my wish lists, because of the passion that was there about storytelling. And I want to explore more stories in games all the time.
Yeah. They were definitely one of the most delightful of our guests that we were able to interact with. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit hard for me. I have more developers on here than I am allowed slots. And I thought that this would be the hardest topic, honestly. I'm going to go with Amanita Design.
I love that you picked them. I thought about picking them and I didn't because I thought Disco Cola will get them. I love that. Because this is more of a Disco Cola dev, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is. First and foremost, better than any other developer I'm aware of, Amanita nails the music every single time. For the longest time, Machinarium was my favorite video game soundtrack. So Amanita Design is a independent Czech game development company. For the longest time, like I said, Machinarium was my favorite indie video game soundtrack, or video game soundtrack in general. And for at least a little bit, like a lot of the Amanita games had the same composer, but they've expanded. Like in Creeks, they have a different composer, and in Happy, they have a different, or Happy Game, they have a different composer. And so they've been all over the place, but they all sort of share like a vibe, and that, you know, is reflected in the design as well. The games are all different in terms of gameplay, in terms of game construction, in terms of goals. But you can look at an Amanita game and see like, that kind of looks like an Amanita game, and you might be right. So they just have this consistency, they have this identifiable style, and they always nail it with the music. I don't necessarily enjoy playing the games as much all the time, but nevertheless, they have such a strong art direction, and I hope that they keep making games forever.
I love it. Love the pick. My next selection for favorite indie game developers is Team Cherry.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. This is kind of a gimme, but Team Cherry is basically 3 full-time team members, I believe. Ari Gibson, William Pellin, and Jack Vine. The core team is just several people. And I find that so awe-inspiring. So I'm picking them, one, because I love their games. Their games are number 2 and 3 on my list of top 100 indie games. So there you go. But also just because of the wonder of seeing just, you know, less than a handful of people coming together for years to make some of gaming's most impactful experiences. Incredible stuff. So it's really that simple.
All right. Still challenging.
I didn't give you enough time.
It wouldn't have changed anything. Hey, this is Disco from a different time. In this section, we talk about the studio Dues DZM in the capacity that it's a studio to keep your eye on. Unfortunately, just 2 or 3 days after we recorded this episode, it was announced that Studio Dues DZM is closing down, which is really unfortunate for really cool indie games. But all the same, we're going to leave that in because they deserve their flowers and a mention, and that's all I have. Back to the episode. This next one, I'm picking as more of a developer to keep your eye on. They have 2 games out now, and I've played and loved one of them, and the other, much more recent one, looks really good and seems to be pretty well received. I am picking Dues DZMs.
Oh, yeah. Help me out.
So they did Shady Part of Me, which is a game I reviewed very recently.
Yes.
But more recently, and I didn't know this until like a week and a half ago, They're the developer behind Mio, Memories in Orbit, which is a game that looks really good and seems to be doing really well.
Yeah, a lot of people liked Mio.
And so this is kind of one that I'm like, keep your eye on, because Shady Part of Me like really kind of blew me away in a much more substantial way than I expected. I always expected to like it, but I didn't expect to love it the way I did. And Mio looks really good. So I'm picking Deuce DZM for that and for the range that they seem to have, because they're pretty different games too.
Very awesome. My last pick here is going to be Simogo.
Oh.
Simogo I'm picking because it is a Swedish developer that has been around for quite a long time. They've made a lot of games, some of which we've played, like Device 6, Sayonara Wild Hearts, and Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. But no matter their project, whether it's a small one or a big one, they're passionate about what they do. They're driven by curiosity, and they see the importance of their games, whether it's like Cosmospin, which was a mobile game that was just like a touchscreen sort of game where you spin around a small world to collect things. They see the importance of those games as well as the bigger games like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. So much so that they made the Simogo Legacy Collection, which released last year. And it's like a celebration of their game's history. And I just love that devotion. I love that passion that they clearly show for their, quote, cute arcade novelties and innovative text-based thrillers and acclaimed fourth wall-breaking stories, end quote. So I just love how they explore, try things out, do something wildly different from project to project, and all of it is so interesting to me.
All right. So this is my fifth one. I'm just going to mention one that I'm not going to pick, because I'm going to say this is maybe a more objectively good game developer, and that's Supergiant. But I'm going to go with a more personal pick, and I'm going to say Inti Creates.
Okay.
Because in this case, I'm thinking about if one of these developers puts out a game, I'm going to buy it pretty much for the most part sight unseen. I think Inti Creates makes a lot of Disco Cola type games and does it better than the companies that invented the formula. I do think Inti Creates comes with some baggage. They go hard into the like anime fan service kind of thing to promote a lot of their games. And that's not always my favorite marketing technique, but nevertheless, they make really incredible run and jump platformers that I look forward to every time, and they always have a great art style to back it up.
I'm so glad you picked them. I love it. I didn't think about Supergiant games for some reason, but yeah. Maybe that can be our collective unofficial pick.
There we go.
Yeah, I like that.
That I'm sure Onimochi would. He is also in that boat.
Yeah, sweet. Well, let's move on to our next category, which is our top 5 episodes of Underplayed. So now we're getting a little bit more meta. We're looking at all the episodes we've made up to this point and picking our favorites for whatever reason calls to us. I imagine we have a pretty good variety here, at least in my list of 5. They run the gamut between like when we did the episodes, why I'm picking them. Do you want to start?
Sure, I can start. I'm going to start with Death's Door. Again, going back to discovering the concept of the Goldilocks zone in games, I just think that the discussion around Death's Door was really fascinating at the time, and I think we both came together on a lot of the points of the game. I think we both were on the same page as far as enjoyment goes, and I really loved the Death's Door episode, and I think I've gone back and listened to that one a few times in the years since, but it has been a little bit at this point.
Yeah, I remember us just being totally aligned on Death's Door, which was super fun whenever it happened. And just for people's awareness, that was episode 14 of our show. Sweet. Thank you for picking that one. I thought about picking that one, I think, but my earliest pick is episode 13, right before it. It is the episode where we had a little walking simulator specialty show, and we didn't plan it that way.
That was fun.
This is where we reviewed Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Dear Esther, Landmark Edition, and What Remains of Edith Finch. And this episode gave us the opportunity to talk about like the history, the landscape of walking simulators, which was fun. And What Remains of Edith Finch remains like a game that's, very important to me. And it was just like fun to have like a theme for a show. We also had a platforming themed episode more recently. Can't remember which episode that was, but it was within the last season or two.
There are better odds of that happening than a walking simulator show.
It was just such a niche topic.
Yeah.
So I had to pick it.
All right. My next one that I'll mention is Slay the Spire. This game is a game that really surprised me, and I remember just having a lot of fun talking about it and really just having my eyes opened to a lot of different kinds of games that I previously would avoid. In this episode, we also did Chenzo Club and When the Past Was Around. I remember really enjoying talking about Chenzo Club too, but yeah, Slay the Spire, talking about all the different characters that you can play as, what our favorite characters were, favorite cards, favorite builds, bosses that we hated the most.
Yeah.
It was just a fun episode, as I recall.
Absolutely. I got to go back and listen to that one. My next pick is from around this same time, like episode number wise, this is pretty close. It's episode 28. It's the episode where we reviewed Thumper, Carto, and Sayonara Wild Hearts. Slay the Spire was episode 32, by the way, if we didn't mention it. But yeah, the Sayonara Wild Hearts episode was synergy.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was us each giving a featured game a 10 out of 10. And I loved talking about that game with you.
Yeah, it was a great game for people who had been on the radio together before.
Yes.
My next one that I want to mention is, I'm going to say Blasphemous. So Blasphemous is, again, it was like my climbing Mount Kilimanjaro for a long time, something I was looking forward to, but also dreading, that seemed like such a monumental task. But when we were gushing about like all these cool items that we found, all these bosses that we love, and how we approached the game, I just remember having such a good like back and forth in that episode, and there was just a lot of passion. And I didn't realize this when I picked the episode, but this is the episode where we also talked about Ghost Song and Demon Turf. And Ghost Song is just another game that like has totally changed me in some ways. And so
that's to date, that is one of my favorite secret game reviews, was your review of Ghost Song.
Yeah. It's to date probably one of my favorite, just the best writing in indie games that I'm aware of. So
and that was episode 56.
56. And I'm so stoked that Grant Graham is featured in episode 100. How cool is that?
That was amazing that you set that up. Thank you.
Yeah.
So next, I'm going with episode 68, one away from my favorite number.
67?
67.
Yeah.
This is the episode where we reviewed Lunark, Valley Peaks, and Katana Zero, and we featured Noah Lone, a.k.a. Some Humble Onion.
I almost picked this one.
Yeah. Picking this one because Noah was exceptionally cool and was our first game dev guest. It ended up being like one of the coolest moments, being able to talk to this guy. He was just so nice.
Yeah.
And passionate.
Yep. Super cool guest. If not to have like that parasocial aspect to it, but I do think that we could totally be friends with Noah.
Yeah,
but
definitely. We are.
The next one I want to mention is Hades.
Episode 6.
Yeah, this is a lot like talking about Hollow Knight. This is just like going back and forth, talking about our favorite boons and favorite, things that we would look forward to, our favorite weapons that we would equip. And it's just really fun when we can like compare and contrast different play styles in a game that we both really loved. Again, this was episode 6. In this episode, we also reviewed Transistor, so 2 Supergiant games, and then Super One More Jump.
Nice.
But yeah, I think it was the first episode that was like started to feel a little bit long because we just kept going on and on about all the different ways that we would equip different things.
Yeah, if that episode were recorded in the more modern era, we probably it would have gone for at least 2 hours.
Like, 2 hours, 10 minutes or something.
Without a guest even. So, episode 84 is my next pick. This is where we reviewed South of the Circle, Fresh Tracks, and 1000 Times Resist, featuring Lucy Blundell also talking about her games and interests. What a jam-packed episode. I mean, 1000 Times Resist on its own being worthy of praise and reflection, but then Lucy talking about making One Night Stand in Videoverse, game hunting in Japan, all of her interests in history with games. It was so fascinating. And she was another game dev guest that was just very passionate and brought some really good reflection and wisdom.
Well, my last pick is from the same season, episode 78, Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut, where we also reviewed Moncage and Tempopo with Matt Stormageddon. Yeah, I think that was just like an awesome episode. Slay the Princess was an awesome game that would have provided so many talking points without our special guest, Matt, but then just to have them on as well, and for each of us to like lay bare like parts of the game that, parts of this romance game that we took away and all the like different paths and what we enjoyed. It was just like a really fun conversation. And I really liked it. And I like to listen back to that episode every now and then.
Yeah, that was a fantastic episode. My last pick is episode 89, where we talked about Season, A Letter to the Future, Wheel World, and Wanderstop, featuring Neha Patel, a sound designer and composer for many awesome indie games. Neha just brought the positivity and elevated the episode. So I'm picking this one because of the guests foremost. But wow, these games we talked about were also very interesting in their own right. Wanderstop, we had very different like experiences with Wanderstop, but also similar observations that were fun to reflect on. And having Neha there to like, as a game that she picked as like a passionate pick, that really shone through in the recording.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, those were our top 5 episodes of Underplayed. If you have a favorite episode in mind, let us know.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
maybe we agree with you and didn't realize it.
Yeah. Well, there were so many that I left behind.
Yeah.
I wish I could have picked 10.
So next is maybe my favorite topic for the episode. One I really... You'll see why when mine's ranked, so you'll see why when I get to the top. It's top 5 indie games we'd play again for the very first time. And in this case, I included the implied caveat that we erase most of our knowledge about the game as well.
Yeah.
So that it's like a brand new, fresh experience.
You're sitting down in front of a screen and someone hands you a controller and they're like, hey, play this. And you're like, what is it?
Yeah, like you don't even know the story anymore.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Top 5 indie games we'd play again for the first time if we could. I think mine are ranked by maybe their placement in my top 100.
Okay, that works.
Okay. So if I start with
mine would be pretty close anyway.
Okay. Well, my number 5 is Inscription. I don't know how to expound on this, but when you start playing Inscription, as long as you have not been spoiled, which we were not.
Yes.
Magically, we had
Very
not
lucky.
been spoiled. You have no idea where this game will go. There's no way you can guess where this game will go or what it will show you. And one thing that's special about Inscription, when you hear people talking about it, is everybody talks about how special it is, but they never tell you what's special about it. They don't spoil that. It's like an unspoken rule with the community of this game, which I really respect. And so, I would love to play Inscription again for the first time, not just to like have all the thrilling moments and have the card gameplay revealed to me, but then also just to see where it goes. And I remember being just like mouth agape, shocked at the very tail end of this game.
Mm.
Yeah.
No comment. My number 5 is Grease. This is a beautifully artistic game. It's one of not very many that I had played before starting Underplayed. Just played it of my own volition because it looked really pretty. And then because the music was really good, I kept going.
Oh.
But to replay it multiple times over has diminishing returns because the like gameplay itself isn't really as fun as the first time when you're experiencing it in tandem with the beautiful artwork at the same time. So to go back to it is to have already seen all of the beautiful spectacle of the game, but to just play the gameplay part is not necessarily my favorite experience.
Huh, okay.
So if I could go back in time and erase my memory of Greece and play it again for the first time, that is a wonderful first playthrough.
I really like that pick. I'm actually already going out of order because I changed my next one to something that wasn't in the list. So my next pick is Limbo.
Ooh.
And I'm picking this because it was such a formative game for both of us. We played it way back in the day. And this set us on the course to like looking out for these side-scrolling platforming games that we still see to this day. But Limbo is just one of the best ones. And it's got so many shocking, thrilling moments. Yeah, it's
the
kind of
first time that spider gets you.
I know, that spider, and also the tribes people like hunting you,
Yep.
and the stuff with bugs happening other than the spider. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, that's a good first playthrough. I'm a little bit upset I didn't put that in my list. I'm not going to change my list though. I'm going to keep it.
I almost picked Inside instead.
Yeah.
But I thought like I swapped the game that I had in there with Inside, but then I thought, you know what? Actually, Limbo.
My next one is in the same relative genre, same vibe. I picked Soma.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The
Great pick. Holy crap.
So like actively playing the game with controller in my hand, not my favorite, but like the story of Soma is something that I really love. And I really loved the dynamic between our two characters whose names totally escape me at the moment, Simon and someone else. But like, this is one of the first games that I saw explore that big twist at the very end that has you discussing the ethics of what is and is not a person necessarily. And so when you go back to that like that, you can't unlearn that essentially. And so if I could go back in time and not have that and experience that again for the very first time, I just remember the first time I saw a playthrough of it. I wasn't even playing it. I watched a playthrough of it. I was like, oh my God. And it blew my mind. And so that's one that I wish I could like wipe my memory of and do again.
Another way to state this category is, what are the top 5 games that had the biggest impact through us learning what's going on in the game, basically?
It can be, yeah. I have it interpreted in different ways for different games. But.
Okay, that's cool. I like whenever each spot in a list has like a meaning, but I don't know. This is such an obvious pick now. My next pick is Outer Wilds. Just like, this is one of those games where if you sat down for the first time playing Outer Wilds, I could sit down and tell you how to basically kind of beat the game.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible. Like it's out there. You just have to know where to go, what to do, where to be at what time. And you just have to slowly unravel that until you get the sequence down that's just like a few minutes long. Amazing that we can do that. I think like one way you like to put this is, if you put a million monkeys in a room,
right,
playing the game, the typewriter thing,
yeah.
like one of them will figure it out, right? Other games aren't like that. Other games require you to go through a minimum number of runs or talk to a certain number of people, whatever it is, to check off the boxes, to unlock the doors needed to get through. But this is one of those games where you can go anywhere and truly do whatever you want. And so I want to have that special journey of just going through again.
Outer Wilds is also my next pick.
Nice.
For a lot of the reasons you said. Also, I wanted to start over with the game because once I got to Brittle Hollow, I was just having so much trouble, and I want to not let that affect my first playthrough. Because like Brittle Hollow just really ticked me off for a long time. And I had so much trouble navigating that planet and finding all the secrets there. I want to just allow myself to give myself space for like the sandbox elements of the game, to just like, okay, I'm too angry right now to go back to Brittle Hollow. I'm just going to go find the white hole out at the edge of the solar system and see what crap has fallen in there at this point of time. So I just want to go back in time and give myself more space to just enjoy space.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the games that we play for the show, like, yeah, we're on a timeline. To be able to do that fresh without the time pressure, you know, it would kind of impact some games.
Yeah, for sure.
My next pick is Return of the Obra Dinn for a lot of similar reasons. This is a game where once you know the answers and you know the secrets behind figuring out the identities of the crew members, you might not get as much on another playthrough, I suspect. I am simply waiting for enough time to pass where my memory fades on this game before I play it again, because I would like to play it again, but I want to forget a lot of the game.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember people on the ship and like who they are, and also how I figured out like big swaths of characters just by looking a certain direction.
Mm-hmm.
I would totally remember that again if I played. So maybe this is something that will never be fixed, but I remember, without giving anything major away, in the book you're given, there's a picture of the crew, and in that picture you can deduce at least one person. You can, I won't say who, but you can deduce somebody based on where they're standing in the picture. That's really cool to me. But I do remember that. I wish I didn't.
And just by the nature of doing the podcast episode, there is one collective group of people I'll never forget how to at least see them.
Yes.
I've forgotten most everything else about the game though at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's a lot of people to remember. I would not be perfect.
Right.
I would still spend a lot of time figuring stuff out, but it wouldn't be like I'm starting fresh.
But it's those big ones anyway that are the most rewarding to discover anyway.
And that's why I remember them.
Yep. My next one, this will come as a surprise. You won't see this one coming.
I won't.
It's The Big Con. And the reason for this is actually very simple. This is the one that when we started Underplayed, I was really excited to play because I was like, oh, this is like, not very many people know about this. It's got the theme song done by Rockapella. And it's just going to be like kind of this dope game that not a lot of people are going to talk about. And I'm going to play it on week one. I think maybe that was the appealing part of it, was that I played it so early after it released. But that's also part of why I wish I could go back and play it again, because I ran into a lot of like hardware issues because it was only on PC. I was trying to stream it at the same time. My computer couldn't handle that. There was a piece of the game that like a trigger that just didn't load. It didn't happen. And so like I don't even remember how I resolved that issue, but I had to do something very strange to just continue the game to a certain point. So I think if I could go back and play that again for the first time, that would be really cool. And there's like physicals for it. It's on a lot more systems. And so I do intend to replay The Big Con at some point and hopefully like it a lot more. But it's just not something I've had the time for.
I think that's a great reason to pick one. And both the game and the reason for picking the game were not on my bingo card. So it's a good pick. My last pick here for game I wish I could play again for the first time is Animal Well. For simply all the secrets and discovering it again. And it's one of my favorite indie games, period. So I just want to start fresh and delve into that dark, dank, wet, scary place. It is a scarier place than you expect. So I think playing fresh again, I would get a little jump scared in certain parts. The end of the game, like the end of layer 1, where you face off against a certain creature, that made me yell the first time I was playing it. I was like, what is happening in this game? So yeah.
It's not really an arcade game, but I would love to see what an Animal Well arcade cabinet would look like. I bet it would look really attractive.
That would be so cool.
I think instead of like restoring a car, I want to learn how to make an arcade cabinet.
That'd be cool.
When I'm middle-aged.
Yeah, that'll be your midlife crisis project.
Yeah, exactly. My last pick and inspiration for the entire topic, as far as I'm concerned, is Inscription. If I could unlearn everything about Inscription and just do it all again, I know that I would fall in love with it the same way I did the first time. But I can't unlearn those secrets. Like when I did replay the main story of it and like
sailed through, didn't you?
Well, I sailed through too fast. I even, Leshy was even like, you too far too soon. You're not allowed to like go this fast through the game.
The game gate kept you from
it
going.
It did. Yeah. He absolutely stopped me. And so it's the game knows that there's like that diminishing return as well, and forces you out of it. But yeah, even just apart from the main game, like if I could unlock all the starter decks in Casey's mod again, like that would be a great joy for me.
I totally see why. And I'm not surprised you picked that one. All right. Next, we are moving on to another top 5 lists. These are our top 5 indie game motifs. These are tropes, trends, recurring patterns or elements that hold significance in us because we see them so often. So this isn't necessarily like genre. This is ideas, if that makes sense, just to boil it down. So I could see how this one could have been interpreted a little bit more open-endedly, but I feel pretty good about my picks. I would like for you to start on this one.
This one's a little bit hard for me because it's just harder for me to identify tropes, period. But I'm going to start with one that I've seen a little bit and I want to see more of, and it's surreal stories with unique art styles. I'm thinking of like Enjoy the Diner is the main force behind this pick. Mutazione could maybe fall into that category as well.
Virginia would fit here. My first secret game. Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying that right now. Ooh, Shady Part of Me could even maybe go in there a little bit too.
I love this pick. Yeah.
But yeah, I just want these worlds that I'm not expecting that are done in such unique and hip and fascinating art styles. So more of that, please.
I love that. Well, for all my picks, I came up with example games like you just did. So my first favorite motif in indie games, playing as children and young adults. Mm-hmm. So this is Alba Wildlife Adventure, Big Hops, Carto, A Space for the Unbound, The Wild at Heart. I find a lot of young people being the stars of games that have very impactful stories. And another example that was recent that I played, it's not a new game, but it's new to me, Popo and Yo. I mean, that's a story about childhood trauma, and you play as the child in the game.
That could fit in the category I mentioned too.
Mm-hmm. So it's just something we see in a lot of my favorite indie games. And I think these stories and the gameplay in them are so successful because sometimes we're a little bit more vulnerable, or a story can only be told a certain way through a child's eyes. And all of us have been children before. So that's something we kind of have in common with all these protagonists as well.
Yeah, there's a certain level of like innocence there that you pretty much only see in indie games. AAA games tend to only have children as like maybe a creepy antagonist.
Or as like a companion that is more incidental than anything. Yeah.
My next trope, and these aren't ranked, by the way, high momentum movement. I thought of this after, and I can't even remember which game it is, but it's one of the giant squid games, and we talked about it in the
Absu?
Journey episode. No, not Absu. Absu is quite slow.
Pathless?
Pathless, probably.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we talked about that in the Journey episode because we were talking about the big Journey slide, and I'm noticing there's a lot more games like that, and I really, really enjoy them. I'm thinking of not even just in 3D, but like Curse Crackers For Whom the Bell Toils. You can get that high momentum flow. You can get it in Gravity Circuit. To a point, you can get it in Downwell and Celeste. There's just like, I really love games that reward you for keeping that momentum going. Solar Ash is actually a really great example of that.
Yes.
Just these like really high momentum activities.
Actually, when you said high velocity, high momentum, I thought of the 800 dash challenge in Hyperlight Drifter, like also from the same developer.
Keeping up momentum in Hyperlight Drifter is rewarding if you can pull it off. It's quite difficult, but
Yes, it is. I can attest. My next pick is cameo appearances and Easter eggs of indie games and other indie games.
Love that
This
one.
happens everywhere, and we've talked about it every time we've noticed it. Too many to name here. It happens in Jack Move. It's happened in Falcon Age. It's happened in Alekhead and Ooh.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight shows up in tons of games. So we just see these nods to other games. We see these collaborations where like maybe a developer reaches out to another and just says like, hey, I respect the heck out of this game that you made. Can we put your character in our game?
You get a Weber follower form in Cult of the Lamb, among other things.
Yeah. Another Crab's Treasure had nods to Going Under.
And Subway Midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a wild pick there. So too many to name here, but it's just always, it kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit whenever it happens, but it also reveals the interconnectedness that indie games have, and what a thing to celebrate.
I'm into that, and I've always loved it. This isn't an indie game Easter egg, but I was watching a movie last night called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Okay.
And there is a very like obvious Portal Easter egg in there. Like they're in this like underground tunnel, and spray painted on the wall, you can see the cake is a lie. And it's a little bit like, okay, I've seen that enough times. A little over the top.
Yeah, that's a little tired.
But for like a pretty mainstream movie, it's like, well, I mean, Portal's still cool.
That is cool.
Anyways.
You were watching a movie and you saw Ovivo on a...
Oh, no, it was...
What was it?
It was...
Or no, a show.
It's, so there's this thing called the Mother Goose Club. It's a children's educational show.
Right.
And I guess they were trying to like dive into like just like gameplay videos. It was literally just a gameplay video on the Mother Goose Club channel. And that's how I discovered Ovivo.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
My next trope or trend, reinventing classic games. And I mean like classic games like solitaire and poker and like slots and stuff like that. There's just a lot of games going on right now that are breathing new and interesting life into such simple things like a regular 52 card deck in some way.
I gotta say, one of the most recent indie games I played that I haven't told you about, it would have been a secret game probably in season 10 if we were doing season 10. It was Forbidden Solitaire. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that game is so imaginative with Solitaire. It like every single level is imagining something new, and it kind of plays like a classic text adventure too. It's got some gnarly visuals. I love that game. I probably should have put that in my top 100, like somewhere in the bottom 10 or something. But yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I haven't played most of them, but there's a lot of that going on right now, and I don't mind.
Yeah, it's super fun that we can take something like that's tried and true and find a new angle. My next pick is mental health. Exploring mental health of all kinds of topics. This is in Celeste's Chicory, A Colorful Tale, Grease, Unpacking, and many, many, many more. I don't know if I can succinctly summarize why this is important or good, but I just love that we can explore through this like really colorful, often goofy medium. We can also explore these mature topics and find a way to express ourselves through the games we play and through the stories we're taking in as well.
Yeah. Imagine that. I've said once before, imagine that, depressed people making beautiful, artful indie games. My next favorite motif is shorter RPGs. Make more of them.
Yes.
We're seeing
Speaking
more and
of
more.
Jack Move.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more of them, and I hope that trend continues because I mean, I do want to love RPGs, and for the most part, like, I do like grinding levels, but I only have so much in me before I'm, like, done.
Yeah.
You have to be a Digimon game for me to really invest that time. And so more short RPGs like Jack Move and like Lunar Lux even, I would consider in that realm.
Very nice. I'm a fan of that, too. There aren't enough hours in the day, and you can still have an awesome game with a short playtime. My next favorite motif is minimalist faces. So think of Donut County,
Yep.
Kentucky Route Zero,
Yep.
Wide Ocean Big Jacket, Mutazione, Super Hot, even.
Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game. Yes, the list goes on and on. Not much to share here other than like, it's pretty amazing how much emotion can be conveyed without the use of facial features or maybe just a few facial features. And so what might look like cutting a corner at first glance actually can reveal a lot of prowess behind like conveying emotion and story in the most efficient way possible.
It reminds me of in high school, and I guess I had graduated at this point, but you were in one of the theater productions and you played a totally silent character, and you did it very well, I might add. And that is something that I cannot do. My body language is so bizarre. But man, you have mastered expression through your body in an incredible way. And this is what I think of when I think of these like featureless faces, like when you honk at the farmer for the first time and how his body moves.
Yes.
It reminds me of you playing this character back in the day.
That was not just my natural talent, though. To prepare for that role, have I ever told you this, what I had to do to prepare for that role?
I've mentioned this like role that you had, I think, in the show once before, so possibly, but I don't remember what you said.
So to prepare for this role, it was a silent king character in Once Upon a Mattress, which is a musical. And the role had no speaking lines, no singing lines. Basically, I was a mute character, and I had to express with my body. And to do that, I studied with a student who was either deaf or hard of hearing, who was significantly younger than I was, but they were very expressive. And they were in our public school system. I don't know how I got connected with them, but their interpreter and the student met with me and helped me workshop a lot of the scenes.
Wow.
And they would use a mixture of like ASL and their own expressiveness and their own sort of language to speak with me along with the interpreter. And so that gave me inspiration, and they also directly helped me workshop ideas.
Holy smokes.
It was really cool.
You've definitely never told me that before.
It was a really cool experience. Yeah.
Like we had a pretty good theater program, but I never would have expected it's like, let's connect you with someone so that you can study your role, you random 17-year-old actor.
It was like when actors have a dialect coach.
Yeah. I never would have expected that. Incredible.
It was like an expression coach, basically.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. I never knew that. My last trend I've noticed that I hope continues is low poly games, just like throwing it back to this like PS1 era. I'm thinking of Crow Country. I'm thinking of the upcoming Abyss X-Zero. There's this, I mentioned one in a recent like season finale. It's like a bomb girls mecha game or something. And it has some really cool low poly art going on. There's a lot of really cool low poly stuff happening right now. And I'm really into it. And for such a long time, my favorite thing was like side-scrolling platformers, but I did always love every once in a while playing like Cyber Troopers Virtual On and Croc Legend of the Gobos and Spyro. So more low poly games with really good pixel art textures. I am into that.
Everything old is new again. I agree with that. My last pick here is just the idea of climbing, soaring, flying, and ascension. So Peak, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Journey, Valley Peaks. Again, the list goes on and on.
Short Hike.
Short Hike is a great example. Games where we are climbing physically, literally, but also, I think, metaphorically. I think a lot of the characters in the games that we play where we're climbing are coming to a conclusion or coming to some learning, some advancement, some development that is worthy of like this motif. It just goes so well with the ideas of these games.
All right. So that concludes the top 5 indie game motifs. Up next for our inner achievement hunters that we possibly still are. I am for sure.
I'm not as much.
Is top 5 achievements in games, and I believe literal in-game achievements, not milestones or challenges. And so this took a long time to look at my trophy list and be like, oh, good God, which ones were fun to do? I don't even remember now, but why don't you go ahead and start with your first one?
Absolutely. I had a lot of fun putting this category together, actually. More fun than I expected. My first pick here, I think I'm going mostly chronological with when we played and reviewed these games. My first pick is the achievement called The Game Is Not Enough from Manifold Garden. This is where we had to complete the game without placing a single God cube. So the God cubes were how we progressed. They were you're meant to put them down. And it's very obvious you're supposed to put these God cubes in their place.
Right.
As big.
It's like the mini goal.
It's like the big goals of the game.
Yeah.
Well, there's a way to finish this game without doing that. And in order to do this achievement, I had to look up a video.
Of
so
course.
someone else is helping me, but you're fundamentally changing how you do this entire game. So it's just completely flipping the game on its head.
I think that's one of the 2 that I'm still missing from that game. That was one of the first games in Underplayed that I'm I don't have time. I have to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I'll do it at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'll do it before the next season.
And then they kept getting pushed back more and more.
Yeah.
And to date, still not complete. I have 2 that are just generally all of the achievements. So I'm going to start with those 2.
Love it.
I'm going to start with Untitled Goose Game. The Untitled Goose Game sweep. Really quick aside. One of the first, I think even before Underplayed started, I was asked to contribute to a best of games video or something. Oh. And people were submitting these AAA games, a Elden Ring something or whatever. And the one I submitted was Untitled Goose Game. And it was a fond memory of mine that I participated in this thing.
Love it.
Anyways, but generally just completing Untitled Goose Game, you have to do all the to-do lists, which ask you to do all these really fun and crazy things. But then there's also just various achievements for just totally just being an asshole, just finding the weirdest thing to do.
Yeah, I remember kicking that soccer ball to a way other place to score a goal, things like that.
Yeah.
Doing things with the kid on the side street, messing with him and all the people around him.
And it's just opening your mind to other types of mischief you can cause as this goose.
Well, it starts to open your mind about, all the items and people in this area, they don't just have to exist.
They can move.
They can move.
Yeah.
They can chase me or I can chase them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. My next pick for favorite achievement. Now, this is a game where I could go with almost all the achievements like you just did. But from unpacking, there are a lot of very inspired achievements. There's one for placing a cookie jar way up high so that you could imagine someone couldn't reach the treat.
Right.
Or putting the toaster in the bathtub.
That's a good one.
And it's called electrocuted or something. But I'm picking Brilliantly Solved from unpacking. This is where in one of the levels with a fridge, we have magnets. They're 1 + 2 = 3. Mm-hmm. And we can make an equation and that registers on the fridge and you get an achievement. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Because someone could very easily take those magnets out and make the equation and they'd be surprised with an achievement without trying. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great philosophy for achievements. Not necessarily always what the philosophy should be, but achievements where you reward the player for their imagination with what they're given in the game. This isn't always going to be possible with the type of game, but in unpacking, you get all these boxes of stuff. And sometimes an idea calls to you, put the toaster in the bathtub. And then you're laughing because it's oh, I had this idea. And then the game is smarter than you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that was funny, wasn't it? Well, here's a little reward, I love it.
Yeah, that's good. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's great. My next, just in general, is Gravity Circuit. I love the completion task of a Mega Man X style game, and Gravity Circuit has that. I love collecting the chips. I love collecting both the data chips for the bestiary essentially, but also the upgrade chips and the all the different weapons and stuff, and collecting all the color palettes. And I love completing a Mega Man X style game, and Gravity Circuit replicates that so well, and then some.
Love it. My next pick is Stoked from Spiritfarer, and I'm picking this because it required quite a lot of effort, and it also gave us a good talking point during the Spiritfarer review about how to get everybody ecstatic. That's a status that all of the spirits can be in Spiritfarer. So this is making all the spirits reach ecstatic mood at least once. A pretty easy thing to do for many of the people in this game, but there are some that are very particular.
Yeah.
And I'm not remembering the names of the ones that are extra difficult, but like some people will only eat one particular food to raise their mood.
Yeah.
And if you're not diligent about talking to them all the time, you might miss out on this. So it's a stressor, and it changes how you play. But in the end, it makes you like a better communicator. It makes you a better host on this ship, I guess. So it really impacted how I played the game, and I ended up being successful at it. And that was a huge sense of accomplishment because I didn't mess it up.
And then it throws you some characters that like prefer the opposite of like almost every other character.
I know.
It really makes it
Yeah.
Especially challenging in the late game.
The same formula does not apply across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as all people are quite different.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I'm going to pick Hot Shot from Outer Wilds.
Nice. I almost picked this.
Did you?
Yeah. Is this where you land in the sun station?
You have to land on the sun station. So
good.
You get to fly into space, and there is a satellite that orbits the sun. The logistics of how it survives is beyond me, but nevertheless, the achievement requests that you fly your ship to the sun station and land on the platform manually, which is quite difficult because you have to match the speed and momentum and velocity of this satellite that's hurtling around the sun, which it has to go very fast in order to stay out of the gravitational pull. But then to also properly land on the platform on this not very large satellite is quite challenging. But once you do pull it off, it is very satisfying, and is just generally like objectively a cool concept for something to accomplish.
Didn't you stay up stupid late?
It took a long time. Yeah, it was very hard.
This one feels like you're doing a science experiment, like an astrophysics experiment in a lab while you're doing it. Like you work for NASA and you're trying to figure out, okay, like this is a simulation. At what velocity can our shuttle go to do this mission? And I need to do this so that our real life astronauts don't die. You know, it feels like you're doing something like that. And I just remember failing and tweaking my strategy here and there until it finally clicked into place. But it definitely took many, many tries.
Yeah. And you only have a set amount of time to do it before you have to start over anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. My next favorite achievement. Now, I'm picking an achievement next that I got very close to achieving, but I never actually achieved. And if you disagree with that, I have a backup one.
I don't know. Let's hear it first.
Okay. Well, for hours, multiple hours, I gave solid attempts at Minimalists from Slay the Spire. This is where you beat the game with a 5-card deck or smaller. And one of two things kept happening. I would beat the game, but I would have 6 cards, or I would get down to 5 cards, get to the last boss, and die. And it happened multiple times in both scenarios. So I'm not saying I attained this yet. I'm not saying that I've earned this yet, but this did change how I played the game for significant lengths of time. So I had a blast like pursuing it. I would love to get it someday. I just don't know if it's in the cards.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm losing my mind. We've been going for so long.
Yeah, for me, that is one I have little interest in, and one of the reasons I did not play it on my main profile is that one in particular. My next one, I'll just say Skullstorm in Inscription. I almost picked the one that says beat Casey's mod with each of the different starter decks. But
Skullstorm, I'm forgetting what this is.
so as you play Casey's mod, you get more and more like modifiers for the game that make it difficult. And Skullstorm is like where you have everything active and it changes the final boss.
It's like maximum heat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hades. Okay.
Except like possible to achieve for more than 3 people on the planet. But yeah, just generally Casey's mod, but I picked Skullstorm just because it was fun to get better and better and better at Casey's mod, and I eventually did the thing. So
very cool. That's so rewarding. I have not even come close because I have barely touched Casey's mod.
It's good.
Yeah, I know. I should go back to it. I'm already imagining what will be talked about in a couple categories. My next and final pick for favorite achievement is No Point in Dying from Limbo. This is where you complete the game in one sitting with 5 or less deaths. I remember first getting this on PlayStation 3, and then I got it on, or no, maybe I got it on Steam back in the day, and then I got it on PS4 or something. So I've gotten this twice, and it just requires you to like rehearse the game, but I don't mind doing that because this game's great, and I've played it so many times now. You get to the point where you get 3 deaths, and you start sweating because you're only like 60% through the game. So you wonder, should I just restart the game? Should I practice those spots where I messed up a little bit more and then do a fresh run? So you're keeping a tally as you go and trying to consider whether you should restart. I think that's like stressful, but also really, really rewarding when you manage to pull it off.
Yeah, I'm pulling up my PSN profiles page, and that one took me, that's one of the hardest trophies, or like one of the biggest accomplishments I've had is finally obtaining that. It says here on the PS3 version, it took me 12 years and 2 months between earning my first trophy and then earning No Point in Dying. And that's one of my rarest trophies that I've acquired. One of my top 5.
Wow.
So that is that got to the point where I was like frustrating for me.
Yeah.
So I looked at it. I looked at that for the list and then was like, no, I kind of hated it.
That's fair. That's fair.
My last one is actually Leader of Leaders from Cult of the Lamb. This is from the Relics of Old Faith DLC. And this is the trophy you get after indoctrinating all 5 bishops, or all 4 bishops and the one who waits into your cult. And that just feels like the perfect, like, for me, the perfect final thing to do in Cult of the Lamb. They added a lot more things after that, but for me, that was like, this is the sweet spot. I feel really good about the journey I went on now that Leshy and Narendar and, Hecate are in my cult.
That does feel like, a full circle moment.
Yeah.
I haven't done that myself, but that's cool that they let you do that for sure. All right. That was our top 5 achievements in games. Now we'll go to our final top 5 category.
Ooh.
Our top 5 indie game expansions and DLCs. This can be interpreted pretty much however we want as far as like content updates, expansions, DLCs. I didn't want to limit this too much. So what is your first pick for favorite game expansion and DLC?
Okay. I wasn't totally sure if this counted because we played like a definitive console version, but initially this part wasn't in the original game. So I'm picking the stuff that makes Slay the Princess the pristine cut.
I think that counts. Yeah.
It adds new storylines. It expands on some of the storylines that already existed. But not only that, it added some of my favorite princesses in the pristine cut. And so I really loved everything this game had to offer, but to have just that much more from the pristine cut, including the like gallery, which was like very instrumental in making sure I saw everything there was to see. Like without that, I'm not sure it would have been possible for me. So the pristine cut version of Slay the Princess is my first pick for expansions or DLC.
Nice. I love how you summarized what the pristine cut added there. That was very helpful. My first pick here is the bug DLC for Totally Accurate Battle Simulator.
That's very specific.
So this is DLC that added bugs, not insects, like
oh, okay,
like toggleable bugs in the game that affected the gameplay, but in humorous ways, not in frustrating ways.
Got it.
So this, for instance, allows you to make all the units massive, or to make all units spin, or to make units invincible, for instance. And so this allowed you to create battles in tabs where there was just even more chaos going on. I can't remember if this added the googly eyes, if this was part of it, but the ones I mentioned are part of the bug DLC. And I think there were around a dozen different settings added to the game because of this.
Cool pick. I didn't even know like what DLCs that game had.
Yeah. And I don't know that, I mean, maybe they had packs release, but I don't know that they called them DLCs, but this is known as the bug DLC.
Okay. My next DLC pick is the Working From Home DLC for Going Under. This adds imposter mode and a Rolodex, which is essentially like a bestiary, but takes a bit of effort to complete because you have to first find like a blank business card, and then you have to hold that as one of your 2 equipable like weapons, but then also throw the business card, the blank business card, at an enemy that you haven't put in your Rolodex yet as the like final hit to kill them. And that's how you have to get the business card. So that's a little bit, that's a lot. But then imposter mode is like a challenge mode too. And allows you to unlock a lot of different costumes or palette swaps for the main character. So
nice.
That was something that was frustrating at first because I found the game to be hard enough on its own, and I didn't want a challenge mode really. But by the end of it, once I had finished it, I actually found it really satisfying and enjoyable.
Very good. My next pick is Smushy Come Home, Heart of the Forest. This was the one update to Smushy Come Home from Some Humble Onion. And what I love about this is it added several hours of gameplay and had a new area with like new characters to talk to. And you're like uniting these 2 tribes together to help solve this problem in the forest. And it was just the perfect length. I mean, I remember streaming this in just like one sitting. It was more of the same. And it just was like the perfect amount for what this game was to begin with as a 3D platformer.
My next one is the Year of the Crab update for Another Crab's Treasure. It's like they listened to our episode and added everything that I asked for. There's a boss rush in the game. There's New Game Plus. You can look at a museum that shows like statues of all the bosses and enemy types that you've defeated. And then it adds like collectibles and hidden snails. But it also like, if you 100% completed the base game, it doesn't take much to like get the achievements from the Year of the Crab DLC. I think I did it in just like 2 sit downs, basically.
Yeah, I never went back to it for this update.
But yeah, just a lot of like cool quality of life stuff and a lot of like things that just make sense for it to be in the game. So much so that we asked for them in the episode. And there they are.
That was one of those updates where, you know, it was eerie how quickly it happened after our episode. Like one of those moments where we thought like, oh, this wouldn't have happened had we not made an episode about the game first. My next pick is Sea of Stars Throes of the Watchmaker. This is an update that added like 8 to 10 hours of gameplay. Valir and Zale are exploring these like circus themed classes. You can do juggling moves as Zale in this game, which is really cool. And you're going into these like miniature clockwork dungeons and things. So it's like a circus themed, really cool, like 8 to 10 hour DLC that added a significant amount of playtime to this already great RPG.
Perfect. My next one is Echoes of the Eye from Outer Wilds. This is a pretty different game compared to the base game. Like, the way you learn things is quite different. The things you're learning about are quite different. And it recontextualizes some of the base game universe of Outer Wilds. But on top of that, just finding I'll just say without spoiling anything, the environment in which Echoes of the Eye is contained is so fascinating because it makes you wonder, like, how much of this was here the whole time in the base game, even though it obviously wasn't. It just, like, it retcons the base game without retconning the base game. It's like this looming element was always here, but it technically wasn't.
I still have not played this, and I've talked to multiple people who love Outer Wilds, and they say, I love Echoes of the Eye like as much as the base game. One person said, I love it more. Someone said it's so like massive of an update that it feels like the base game doubled.
It does feel, especially in terms of time it took me to complete, it is pretty much like double the base game. I don't like it as much. I do think it's a little bit too different for my tastes, but it's interesting that they can add something like this and it still feels like it's part of the same world for the most part.
Hell yeah. Very good. My next pick is Dredge the Iron Rig DLC. So Dredge released several DLCs. I'm going with the most recent one. The Iron Rig added, I think, at least 50 new fish to catch, and was about like oil spills and stuff off of this rig that showed up in the water. And I just remember this being like, for me, the most substantial DLC, and one that I just marathoned because I loved the feeling of catching all the new fish and all the new upgrades and things. It just was like such a solid update. And it brought me back to Dredge, baby.
So for my last one, I kind of had planned to like do a pseudo like secret game length review of this last one. My plan was to like come to the episode and having actually played one of the DLCs to completion. I don't know that I'll get in depth as I had initially planned.
Oh yeah.
But I did play all of the DLC for Cult of the Lamb.
Oh my God. So
Woolhaven, Relics of the Old Faith, whatever the Sin one is. Give me a second. I'll pull
Sins
it
of
up.
the Flesh.
Sins of the Flesh. And so as of last night around 11:30 p.m. got the last trophy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'll just kind of go over, to make it short, my favorite DLC of the whole package there is Relics of the Old Faith. I mentioned in the previous section about the trophy, that felt like the perfect capstone, perfect addition to keep a discipline-sized game. After that, added things that I felt were unnecessary and bloated the game a little bit. But just to run through it, the first DLC pack, Relics of Old Faith, this added basically the ability to recruit each of the bishops to your cult, as well as sort of give a resolution to a couple of other minor characters that appear under the control of the one who waits. It also added Purgatory, which is sort of like a challenge run where you get to go through with all the different fleeces and basically do like a roguelite sort of challenge to see how far you can get, as with increasing levels of difficulty. And I felt that was like the perfect, capstone onto Cult of the Lamb. It wasn't long after that we saw that Cult of the Lamb was kind of living and breathing and might consistently get updates forever. They added Sins of the Flesh. This added lore tablets that you need to find throughout different parts of the world. It added outfits. And
did it add sex to the game?
It did add sex to the game. You can propagate the flock, is what the trophy's called. You can get eggs and hatch young followers. I don't like that for a couple of reasons. One, we're already talking about cults. That's the topic of the game. An unfortunate reality of cults is controlled sexual relationships and manipulation of children. And I didn't necessarily want that, even though it's done in this cartoony way. I didn't want any amount of children in this game.
Yeah.
But on top of that, hatching the eggs isn't fun and takes a long time. And then raising the like young children is also not fun and
Do they mess stuff up?
They don't mess stuff up if you keep them in like a nursery, but you have to like, you can't spend more than a day away doing a crusade or something, because then that affects the growth of the child. So you kind of have to like stay home for several days on top of everything. So, and then collecting sin as an object didn't have a lot of uses, and I felt like was an unnecessary addition to the game. And then there's DLC Pack 3, Woolhaven. This adds 2 whole new biomes, another story with like origin implications for the lamb. And this was kind of cool. There's a lot of really cool designs going on here. And I really loved bringing Woolhaven back to life. But it also added winter as a mechanic, and I hate winter.
Yeah.
That is just not fun. Luckily, you do unlock the ability to turn it off after a while. But while you are stuck with it, it is a lot to deal with. It adds legendary weapons, which are super cool. It adds quests within the Woolhaven village, which are mostly pretty fun to accomplish. I really like the Woolhaven village and completing most of the tasks there. So I do enjoy that part of it, and I really enjoy the rot. I think the rot, one of the biomes, is really cool. But it made the game just like so big. There's a little bit too much. There's almost don't starve together levels of too much going on now.
Gotcha. Okay. I was kind of afraid of that, but yeah, I've seen a little bit of gameplay through Twitch, some people streaming Woolhaven, and just seeing the expansion of the home base is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like just getting more space is really huge.
It's necessary after adding all the things that they had. Ranch, they added ranching so that you can like raise animals for wool and meat.
Wow. But yeah, that is starting to be a lot. I kind of hope that if they do more updates, it is maybe more along the lines of Relics than Woolhaven, it sounds like.
And part of me thinks that they're done this time because they're releasing like new physicals that like with all DLC included. So to me, that feels maybe final. But then you have games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, which released like 4 different physicals for each DLC edition.
Yeah,
so who knows?
Making people buy it again and again. Yeah. Sweet. Well, thank you for going into that. That was enlightening. I'm going to go with my last favorite DLC, and it is Cuphead: The Delicious Last Course. This basically added another Inkwell Isle of bosses and an interesting antagonist and more weapons, more parry challenges. So it just like really grew the game like significantly, like a nice chunk. But I like when DLCs add a measurable unit of girth to the experience. Like I can easily look at like an Inkwell Isle from the game and be like, oh, they just, added one of those on. Mm-hmm. And the bosses here, I think, take a step up in difficulty. And so if you kind of mastered the base game and you went into the DLC thinking you'll kind of steamroll it, chances are you didn't, and you had to, maybe you hadn't picked up the game in a while and you had to relearn the controls and get back in there. And some of the bosses, like they're pretty challenging, I think, compared to the base game. But I just think the ideas continue to be so imaginative, and it doesn't seem like they repeated anything from the base game. So they're still like mining for these new ideas in the DLC. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I just thinking off the top of my head, like at least 2 of my favorite bosses are from that DLC expansion.
Yeah, they're super cool. And like they have phases that look so different from each other too. Yeah, so cool. So those were our picks for top 5 indie game expansions and DLCs. And now we have one that isn't necessarily a top 5, but it is what non-indie games we would be playing if we hadn't been doing Underplayed. I'm curious about your picks here because I don't necessarily know.
I mean, most of them won't be surprising.
Oh, wait, actually, I'm going to guess. Wait, can I guess?
You can guess some, yeah.
Digimon?
Yeah.
Probably not Pokemon.
No.
Is it just Digimon?
No, there's several things here.
Damn it. Several things. Okay, what else?
So yeah, just generally Digimon, there's like 5 games I have to complete now.
Jeez.
Jak 2 and Jak 3 are something that I've had like just screaming at me from across the room for like a decade.
Have you never played those?
I've played Jak 2 and beat Jak 2 on PS2.
Okay.
But I have the like PS3 collection that has all 3 games.
Yeah.
And I have physicals on PS4 for the Jak trilogy. And I've never played more than like 20 minutes of Jak 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so I want to finally go in and complete those. That's something I've wanted to do for decades at this point.
Yeah, you should get on those. I think you will still come away with Precursor Legacy being your favorite.
It's definitely more my style.
I replayed Jak 3 a few years ago, and I was shocked at how like kind of infuriating some of the driving stuff is.
Crap.
So just be prepared for that, but it's still worth playing. It's really good.
Grant has been, well, he stopped hounding me after a while, but like he really loves Jak 3 and wants me to beat it.
Yeah, it's still great. Sorry to offend you, Grant, with the Jak 3 shade.
Do you want me to just go through all mine?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Next is one that was like stuck on Xbox for a really long time, so I thought I'd never get to play it. But I just got the PS5 physical in the mail a couple days ago. It's Hi-Fi Rush.
Nice.
And I want to add this to the games that I've played like that. And
I
Bomb
bet
Rush,
you will love
Cyberpunk,
this.
and yeah.
Oh, God, I bet it goes hand in hand with Bomb Rush.
So I always got them confused for a long time. So I'm looking forward to it. Mega Man Battle Networks and Star Forces, the Battle Network Legacy Collection came out like 2 years ago now. I've still never beaten a Battle Network game. And now the Star Force Collection is here, and I've never even played a single one of those. I've had all of them for like 15 years, but I've never touched them.
Now's your time. I'm
going to play the Spyro Trilogy. I always love Spyro Trilogy. And now we're
reignited.
Yeah, and now we're getting a new Spyro, and it's just exciting. And ever since I saw the first trailer, I've been interested in Pragmata, and then when it came out and was even better than I thought was possible for a AAA studio at this point, I'm really excited to try it. Like, I have not heard pretty much any bad things about it.
Yeah. Speaking of earlier kids as main characters.
That's kind of, I was going to mention it. I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, those are very exciting picks. I think I would be like all caught up with the Resident Evil series.
That's like my next level pick, because it's not something I've historically been interested in, but I played Resident Evil 2 at your house one time, and I was pretty enthralled, and I think Resident Evil's 7 and 8 looked really good to me, just watching playthroughs. So
I actually just started a playthrough of Resident Evil 7 this past week, and I'm over halfway through it. So I'm trying to catch up now, and I'm really liking it. So I'm going to move on to Village after that, and then hopefully Requiem. So that's definitely something that I would be caught up with. I have played other ones like 2, 4 Remake, 5. Didn't like 6 at all. I had to put that one down. A lot of people don't like that one, but the more modern ones I need to catch up with. And then a lot of PlayStation first-party titles. I've fallen behind on these. So like Ghost of Yote, which is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Just staying on top of these kinds of third-person action games mostly is important to me because I've played them for so long. Like all the Naughty Dog games, Ghost of Tsushima, the Horizon Forbidden West.
I might play
those
Horizon
kinds of
at
games.
some point.
Yeah, those are good games. And then let's see, replays of classic platformers. I would say some of the ones we've mentioned already, because those hold a special place in my heart for sure.
Rock on.
Yeah.
That's all I cared enough to mention anyways. There's like, I'm going to go through and complete some trophy lists for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you look at like, the next 6 months of what you mentioned, what are you playing next?
Well, I still need to accomplish my, 75th platinum. I still need to make that like a special pick. Now that Underplayed's off the table, it might be Digimon Story Time Stranger, because I'll actually have time for that.
Yeah.
For a while there, it was looking like I was going to try and do Ghost Song, which is also got a special place in my heart now. So I'm going to start with one of those two, but I've had this like demon in the back of my brain saying, play Iris and the Giant. And I really want to play Iris and the Giant for some reason. So that might be where I start after I get that 75th platinum, to start like completing uncompleted games, is going back to Iris and the Giant first.
Hell yeah.
But hopefully a lot of Digimon though, because I've just been putting a lot of it off.
Yeah. It's now time. It's now time. So that was the last category for our list here. And I thought that was all very good. We are around the 3-hour mark.
That's about what you wanted.
Yeah, actually, I originally thought like a year or more ago, I thought like, oh yeah, episode 100, that's going to be like a 5 or 6 hour long special. But this is actually perfect.
Yeah.
Because it's less editing than that.
I would have had like some guilt about putting an episode out that was that long. But,
I know, but I think this is a perfect length.
Yeah.
And thank you again for this journey, Disco Cola.
Of course, it's been the most enriching creative endeavor of my lifetime.
Yes, thank you so much for everything along the way, and just for being there with me, being my partner in all this. And again, thank you to all you out there listening and who have listened and kept in touch with us. We love you very much. And we don't know what the future holds right now, but for now, this is it for Underplayed. That's right. I don't have a special sign off or anything.
Well, that's okay, because I have another surprise for you, Popo.
What?
We are going to end episode 100 with a cover of our outro theme done by Romaine Rope, who we know from Mainframes.
No way.
Yes.
Oh my God. So okay.
This is the final surprise I have for you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, this is us signing off. Let's say something simultaneously. And until next time, go bonk 'em?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Until next time, go bonk 'em.